Whenever you want to go. Who? No pressure.
That mic's going to have a light now.
Garrymore, I had Castlebar Mitchels, as Jimmy has said, really rattled.
Yeah, absolutely. But I suppose one thing you will expect from Garrymore is resilience, fight, never say die. Kevin White's been with them the last 4 years. He's done really well. I'd say they've done a lot of work on the tackle. It seemed in the last day they were getting into right zones and ripping the ball out of Castlebar, which they wouldn't have been used to. But no, it's hard to know. But in club football, I suppose the way it's gone, Castlebar Mitchels haven't been beaten in nearly 2.5 years when Ballina took them out, so maybe they've been a bit shaky, a bit vulnerable the last day. Could have been caught. Thought Slattery had a great chance for a goal in the 20th minute of the second half. If he went left, the story, we mightn't be here tonight, but he didn't went right to his brother and just missed the pass. So look, it's going to be a great game, I'd say.
The question, I suppose, from the Castlebar Mitchels perspective is are they a lesser force than they were, or has the last few weeks, particularly the Ballina game and the Garrymore game, is that a blip, or is it a sign that they're there to be taken?
Yeah, I suppose they've they've been up and down, so they won the first 2 rounds of the championship, secured themselves in a quarter final. Then they played Ballina, who caught them early with 3 early goals. So they came out then against Knockmore, who people thought have improved. They were in the league final last Sunday, albeit Brave did beat them. But they have improved, and they're talk that they're going to be county champions soon. Caught them in the quarter final. Came here the last day, maybe a small bit complacent, and Garrymore put up a great show against them.
Yes, Jimmy, you've been looking at both sides. You've had a particular look at Castlebar, and you feel that they've lost some key players and that's having an influence.
Yes, over the last 2 years, since they were in the All-Ireland final about 18 months ago, they've lost players like the two Feeneys, Tom Caniff, Neil Lydon, Fergal Durkin. These were all key players, what you call go-to players. In times of need, they're the players to give the ball to, because they'll do something positive with it. They will do the right thing with it. They're replacing them with younger players, and because they're younger players, they don't have the experience, they haven't got the strength. So it's a different Castlebar team. They're not putting teams away as easily as they did over the last, say, 5, 6, 7 years. And that's evidenced by the sort of score lines they're putting up. It's Knockmore 113 again, 113 last week, whereas before, at this time of the championship, when they put teams to the sword, they were scoring 2, 3, 4, 5 goals.
Yes, and they have, as Jimmy said, brought some young players in, but physically up front, Michael, they're not as strong as they were. I mean, Jimmy has mentioned Neil Lydon a little bit earlier on. Physical power is so important nowadays.
Yeah, completely. Neil Douglas as well is playing 14, maybe not playing as well as he had been last year. He was the footballer of the year. I know he was in India at the start of the year, and was in America for the summer, which will take it out of you a small bit, So he's playing 14. Neil Lydon, as Jimmy said, he's up playing in Galway. He's a very strong player. While he might have got 45, 50 minutes, they'd have been bringing on the likes of Richie Feeney, who's another player we missed out on there, for him, who's a physically strong man, and he's not there. I don't see him in the subs, and I know he played a bit of league football. So power is huge, especially on a night like tonight. Power will be huge. When you see, for the likes of James Durkin the last day, marking Trevor Nally, Trevor Nally's physical power going past him. Trevor, I think, was man of the match, and James just couldn't stay with him. While James is a great footballer himself, played a bit of Mayo Senior, Trevor Nally's very, very strong, but a night like tonight, he needs to be stopped, and that physical power, that's where it comes into it, where you probably need the likes of Neil Lydon.
A lot of talk about Jamie Oates, the Garrymore full-back. He's had a few good runs recently. Yeah. I saw someone in the Mayo GAA blog, when asked what's he like, he said he's 6'6", 23 years of age, and just recently dropped by the All Blacks. Just what we want. You've marked him, Mickey, I'm sure. I
have actually. Come on, there in the league game against him. And he's Tiger. He's fast. I actually trained him when he was in Coleman's, and he did a great job, I thought, the last day on Neil Douglas, who was, Castlebar's definitely go-to man on the inside line. He marked Ronan Mack against us as well, and he'd no problem mixing it up against him. So he doesn't mind big or small. He'll go anyway.
Yeah, a lot of eyes on him tonight. He'll probably shape up against Neil Douglas again tonight. Both teams out on the field. Castlebar Mitchels in their yellow jersey tonight, and Garrymore wearing a very fetching white with the red band across the back of the shoulder, and nice jersey. And they're going through their warm-up as well here. Good crowd gathering. Last week, Mickey, Wednesday night, Carrymore versus Ballintubber. We had a huge crowd here, great atmosphere. I know it's difficult on the players who are working away in that, but for the supporter, there's something special about a game under lights on a Wednesday night. What else did you be doing, kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was great. We were just saying here, a lot of the boys in Dublin are doing it. I know last year, I think the county semi-final between St Vincent's and Ballymun had something like 12,500 people at it in Dublin, not televised, so that'll show you the interest that's out there. People aren't doing that much during the week. Anybody that's home will get to the game. It's great today. You'll have, I'd say, 1,200-1,500 people here tonight, and obviously people watching on Mayo TV, but it's a good occasion. The only thing is, for the players, it's not after Sunday's game. They're coming into Wednesday, probably didn't do any training, just a bit of recovery, ice spins and pool sessions and a small bit of video analysis, and that's all you can do really coming in today. And to be honest, it'll be probably the same way whoever progresses to the county final on Sunday. That's all they'll be able to do. Maybe a meeting Friday night, video work, and go through the opposition, the strengths and weaknesses in Ballintubber, who we pretty know who they are already.
Indeed. Our two co-commentators, Danny McHugh and Kevin Filan, are busy down underneath the stand getting late changes in the teams and getting all the team news for us, and they'll be back up in a minute with all of that. Castlebar Mitchels' team sheet coming up as selected, coming up on the window there, on the screen there, Jimmy, in a moment's time. They have physical power certainly in the back line. I mean, Ger McDonough, Paddy Durkin, Ray O'Malley. Young Johnny Mahan is a fine specimen of a man as well. Danny Kirby and Owen O'Reilly at midfield. Unusual to see Owen O'Reilly at midfield. He's been better known as a defender over the years.
Yeah, he is, and it's. I think it's kind of a measure of where Castlebar are at the moment. He's not a natural midfielder. They're doing a bit of mix and match, really, putting Owen O'Reilly out there. I think his best position is centre half back. That's where he's played with them the last few years. He's given them something extra from there, especially going forward. It's a different. He does a sound, steady job midfield, but it's not the sort of job we usually see Owen O'Reilly doing, where he pushes forward and creates. He's the man who can start goal chances and sometimes be in the middle of them and sometimes finish them.
Okay, just before we take down the Castlebar list, we leave it up for 1 second. Kevin Filan is giving you one bit of news, Michael.
Yeah, Aidan Walsh is in for Shane Hopkins. He came in the last day after an injury. Aidan, I think he broke his thumb or something like that there in one of the league games, so he's back. He got 55-60 minutes under his belt the last day, and he's a big player for Castlebar, so they'll like to get in from the start. Having said that, they won't like to lose Shane Hopkins, who kind of plays a sweeper for Castlebar the last couple of years, and he's kind of he sets a lot of the attacks going. So on one hand they'll get Aidan Walsh back in, but I said they like to have both of them. Just just a quick note there, Castlebar seem to be a lot sharper in their warm up too. It looks to be lively, and it really seem to be up for tonight rather than maybe the last day a bit lethargic and slow.
Okay, Danny McHugh is there. Got a quick word on what you think the Garrymore change will be, Gary. It's a regular one.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Carl Slasher will start instead of Darren Quinn, same as the last day. So otherwise they seem to be as it was the last day.
Okay, we'll chat to Kevin and to Danny in greater detail in a few moments. Finally, lads, before I finish up with you two, I want your prediction and where you think it's going to be won. Jimmy first.
Well, having said all I've said about Castlebar, I still think they have that little bit too much for Garrymore. I think it's interesting that Mickey said that they look sharper in the warm-up. It's a bit of a wake-up call for them, what happened on Sunday. It's like what happened Ballintubber against Carrymore last week when they came out in the second half and they were team transformed. So Castlebar have had 2 or 3 days to reflect on what went wrong. I would suspect there'll be greater urgency. Their support play has to be better, and if they get their foot on the neck of the Garrymore players this time, I think it'll stay there.
Okay, well, that's the Garrymore team sheet on the screen, and as we said, we expect Cathal Slattery, the goal scorer from the weekend, to start instead of Darren Quinn. Your prediction, Mickey?
Yeah, look, I think Castlebar will be very disappointed the way they played the last day in a lot of areas. Their ball handling, made a lot of mistakes that they're normally noted to winning county titles the last couple of years. Couple of missed tackles as well, a bit of indiscipline. I know Neil Douglas, got a yellow card when he could have had a free that he normally get over the bar, and Garrymore went down and got a score. So I think in the first period there, or the first half, in around between the 8th and about the 20th minute, I think the 7 or 8 wides, the Castlebar rule. The last day. Having said that, Garrymore did miss a goal chance in the 20th minute, and that they'll be disappointed with a couple of more chances. So I think, look at whoever has the ball handling skills, gets the tackling right, more disciplined, and takes the chances, is going to win tonight. And for me, I just think Castlebar, from their experience down to the years, it's going to be them.
Okay, well that's it. You've seen the Garrymore team sheet now, and back to the warm-ups out in the field. You can keep an eye as well. Thanks to Mickey and to Jimmy. We'll be talking to you at half time. Going to bring in Danny and Kevin Filan now as well. The Castlebar Mitchels, the Garrymore and Castlebar Mitchels co-commentator respectively. And I'm going to go first to you, Danny, here. It was a comeback that stirred the hearts of lots of people last weekend. But you had been saying this team is playing really good football and has been played some of their best football perhaps you've seen them play in the last few weeks.
Yeah, well, definitely from the Charlestown game they played very well, and I think put up 215 in that game, and at that stage twice in the game they were 7 points up, and I suppose let Charlestown back into it. Then they went on and scored 4-13 against Ballina, played a lot better, and here the last day they certainly played to their game plan the whole way through the game. As I was saying here, all they'd want to do is stick with Castlebar, and they'd believe in their own fitness towards the end of a game to snatch it at the death.
That was an interesting point that both Shane Nally and Jimmy Killeen made to me, that they were focused on doing what they do. It takes a lot of composure for a team who are coming from the outside like Garrymore were, to hold tight, not to abandon, something not go off in a bit of a solo run, metaphorically or literally. So there's obviously a real team feeling about them, or a real understanding of what team play is about.
Yeah, well, even here the last day, I suppose it was talked about how experienced Castlebar were, but like Garrymore, vast experience there. The two Cunninghams, Nally, Crowe, Jimmy Killeen, Mark Tierney, Miles Fallon, these guys are playing 10 years senior championship football, at a high level, getting to the quarter-finals, semi-finals most years. These guys know what they're doing, and they stick very rigidly to the game plan Kevin works on. It was very easy for me to beat Dick the last day. They'll just keep holding on to the ball, stay in the game, never panic. Even after the break when they went 6 down, they didn't panic, just kept tacking on scores and stuck in the game, and as we were saying, try and get a goal near the end, and they did, and could have gone on and won it.
Okay, well, I'm going to go to Kevin Filan next. And Kevin, you were rattled Sunday as well. You had said you expected them to win by a few points, and there were times in the game when they were on course to win by a few points, but it didn't happen in the second half for Garrymore when the pressure came on, or for Mitchells when the pressure came on.
Yeah, look, I suppose the start of the second half they were 6 points up, and you'd figure they would have closed it out. But all respect to Garrymore, they came back and they pegged away the points. As Danny said, they stuck to their game plan, and it worked out for them. I think the only ball that Garrymore probably won around the middle of the field, the break they got, Paddy took a chance, went forward, the ball broke, I think, to I'm not sure, was it Shane or someone, and anyways, young Slattery ended up slotting it. So that was probably the trigger for Garrymore, and they pushed on then a bit. I suppose thinking then again, like Castlebar did reply well, that they tagged on 3 points, and you still would have fancied them to win it. And yet Garrymore, the ones that probably finished the game with a bit of momentum, they scored the last 3 scores. I know Castlebar would be disappointed. They had opportunities to close out the game. Neil Douglas hitting the crossbar, King Costello missed a score, David Simpson missed a score, so I think they'll be disappointed. Even in the first half, the first part of the first half, the shot selection was poor. I know there was pressure on from the Garrymore backs, but the shot selection was really poor. They were a bit more patient come towards the end of the first half. Barry got a nice score, John McDonough got a nice score, and I think they need to do a bit more of that tonight. Be a bit more patient, work the ball, get into the scoring zone.
What kind of vibe have you picked up from them the last few days?
Well, it was interesting to hear Danny's comments right after the game. Like, he was saying they were happy to be still in it, and I think for the likes of Danny and Aidan Walsh, it's going to bring them on. Danny hasn't played a whole pile of football. I thought he played a lot better in the second half. His touch in the first half was poor. Aidan Walsh, I thought, played well. He's only back from a broken hand, so I think there's 3 or 4 guys that'll bring on. I think there'll be a few of them that underperformed. Rory Byrne probably cost him 2 or 3 scores. I know he'll be very disappointed with his kickouts, 2 or 3 of them going over the sideline. Probably should have just went along with them. We took Barry off. Barry was probably running out of gas 10 minutes ago. Barry was off, so we didn't probably have an option around the middle of the park. But I can see kickouts probably going a little bit longer today from Castlebar. I hope to go more of a full press as well instead of playing with the sweeper. We know Shane Hopkins is out, so that Ray O'Malley will transition into that sweeper role. But I hope to push forward a little bit more. And I think we'd probably see a little bit more physicality from Castlebar today, a bit more intensity in the tackle.
Okay, well, it all remains to be seen. We can see the teams going through their warm-ups, as we said. The point has been made that Castlebar look perhaps a lot more tuned in today, but reading warm-ups can be a precarious game, Danny. You could fool yourself reading a warm-up.
Yeah, there's plenty of lads down there kicking the ball into the net, but we'll see how easy it'll be to...
half-time kick-arounds, another very unreliable part.
Yes, yeah. Many is the star that was out at half-time. Myself included a few times.
Okay, well, look, I'm going to hand over to match commentator Tom Kearney. He'll be joined by Danny and Kevin for the entirety of the game, and we'll have Jimmy and Mickey again at half-time. So, over to match commentator Tom Kearney. One point you probably know, Tom, anyway. Quillen Crowe will wear number 28, I believe. A wardrobe malfunction in Garrymore, perhaps. Okay, Tom, over to you.
Well, thanks, Liam. We're not entirely sure if it was a recurrence of something that happened during the last time these jerseys were worn, but as they say, a wardrobe malfunction nonetheless. Conditions here this evening are it's dry. There was a slight shower of rain before we came in. The surface underfoot is solid, but as we said, due to the brief shower we had, it's going to be slightly greasy, and the ball will accelerate off the turf. The breeze is strong, blowing to the bacon factory end, so it'll be an interesting contest. At the referee Ronan Gurn is talking to the two captains at the moment. They'll be going for the coin toss in the middle of the field, and we'll find out which way the teams will be playing. As we said, the changes that were already announced, Quillen Crowe, due to his wardrobe malfunction, will wear number 28. Aidan Walsh is in for Shane Hopkins, James Durkin is in for Anthony O'Boyle, and Shane Irwin starts in place of Niall McCartney. The teams both now just going back into their little groups. They'll be going through their huddles, and the day is cleared up well. We should have a very interesting game of football. It was a great performance by Garrymore to come back from 7 points down, as mentioned, and the evening is dry. It's almost perfect conditions for football on a Wednesday evening, Danny.
Yeah, even though it made an awful lot of rain now in the hour beforehand, I would expect it to be a lot slippier today than the last day. So we'll probably see a lot more mistakes. Whether more scores comes out of that or not, it'll be interesting. Again, it was only, both sides scoring 12 scores the last day. It was a very tight game. So it'll be interesting to see, who takes the chances. A slippery ball, a goal here and there could make a big difference.
And Kevin, as we see Garrymore and Castlebar go into their respective huddles, it'll be a full 60-minute affair, if nothing else, and you have to say that Castlebar will feel they were slightly lucky in one way to still be in the competition.
Yeah, there's probably mixed emotions. They had chances to close the game out, and there was probably chances there Garrymore probably had later on as well, maybe to tag on another point or two. I think Castlebar will feel with some of the chances they missed in the first half the last day that and not closing out when they win 6 points up at the start of the second half. They feel like, I think they need to push on tonight, but yeah, they'll be disappointed. It's interesting. Some of them were disappointed, and some of them were, happy to be still in it. So,
our on Naveen. And a sizable crowd is making their noise, and Danny, the throw-ups are important.
Yeah, well, the throw-ups the last day, Castlebar won the two throw-ups and scored 1-1 from it. They only scored 1-11 in the whole day, so very important for Garrymore to try and contest this throw-up and try and contain Castlebar from the start.
So as Ronan Gurn is just making sure he has the right number of players on the pitch, and we'll be underway shortly, and we notice a change straight away.
Tom, you can just see it there at the start. Keane Costello's gone in, marking Trevor Nally, so that's a change from the last day. James Durkin was playing left half forward the last day, and probably Trevor Nally probably had the best of that tussle the last day. Felt James probably stayed down that channel too much, so it's interesting. Keane has gone left half forward, James has gone into the corner forward position, so that's the quickest change. I see Jeremy McDonald's out half back as well.
Straight from the throw, and it's going to be a free for Garrymore. Ball in hand of Shane Nally delivers it quickly inside, trying to get the all-important first score of the game, and Mark Tierney turns and has a go first time, but unfortunately that's sailed right and wide. Michael Conroy?
Yeah, just incidentally, Castlebar won the last 2 throw-ins the last day, and they got one from Garrymore. Obviously a bit of homework done during the week, and stopped that and got the first attack.
Kick out from Rory Byrne. The ball is sailing close to the sideline, but kept in play by Owen O'Reilly and Donny Newcombe to Hayden Walsh. And already Castlebar starting to use the hand pass to great effect, and then release the ball quickly inside, trying to find Douglas, and he's out in front and he's won that ball well, and he gives it to the runner, and Castlebar have a Danny Kirby waiting to pull the trigger, and he does so, but this time it's gone over the bar, and a good score came from a missed score from Garrymore, and Castlebar 4 or 5 hand passes, released the ball into Neil Douglas.
Yeah, Mark Tierney's just long enough for range effort there, just sailed wide, and yeah, they did well from there. They got won their kick out and moved it up the field fast, and a good score.
Early ball inside worked well for Douglas, same tactic.
Same tactic. Jamie probably needs to get out in front of him. He's got an awful lot of ball out in front of Jamie O'Salasi as well. Here he is again.
Keelan Crowe's trying to sit back between the two lines, trying to stop the play inside, so Neil Douglas can't win that ball that time, and Keelan Crowe has one, and it comes to Gary Golden, who was such an influence for Garrymore last Sunday, and he's breaking into the Castlebar 45, recycles the ball back into midfield, and Garrymore will have their patient build-up as they did last Sunday, playing a lot of hand passes and just making sure that they keep possession of the ball in these, as we said, difficult conditions given the rainfall we had earlier, and Castlebar forced them back into their own 45. But free out here is Trevor Nally, and he's going to maraud into the opposition half as he did on Sunday, and he's been pulled down by Barry Moore. Ball turned over, and Castlebar can break, and it's with Jamie King with Johnny Maughan and Aidan Walsh. Shane Irwin seems to be playing deep inside, and this ball comes out to James Durkin, and Durkin delivers a quick ball inside again. Out in front is Douglas, and he lays it off, a nice hand pass, and coming up is Newcombe, but they can't get the score that time. Paddy Durkin, who had a bit of a quiet game last Sunday, the ball eventually exchanged hand passes, and Douglas has a go, but that snapshot just to the left and wide, and early intent from Castlebar.
Yeah, great turnover from Barry. Tracked the run of Trevor Nally down the wing. Trevor's got pace. Barry turned him over, set up the tack. Paddy blocked down. Probably should have kicked it a little bit earlier. Neil then, in front of goal, probably should have kicked it as well.
Yeah, Neil Douglas started a lot quicker though than the last day. He's been involved in the first 2 attacks, got the first score, but just a wide there that time.
Seems as though Keelan Crowe seems to be sitting back as a sweeper for Garrymore. Yeah,
I think they're going. It's like 3 on 4. Castlebar going zonal on us, so they're playing a sweeper. But the first 2 kickouts that Garrymore have gone long, Castlebar have won it. So it'll be interesting to see will he go short for the next few.
Castlebar get possession of the ball from the kick out, and the full-back Jerry McDonough was free on the left-hand side, but a few players not able to hold their footing on the greasy surface. Donny Newcombe comes up from corner back. There's not one Garrymore player in the opposition half of the field currently, so Garrymore know they're going to have their work cut out. Cian Costello evades 2 tackles, gets the ball into Stenson, but he couldn't quite lay off the pass, and Garrymore by sheer numbers overturned the ball, and Garrymore, it seems, they're going to be playing counter-attack football.
Yeah, very similar to the last day. Now they have the breeze in the first half this half, so they will have to push on a bit more, but interesting to see that Paddy Durkin seems to be playing wing forward. Miles Fallon seems to have moved back to pick him up, so interesting change from Castlebar.
Garrymore again spreading the play across the pitch, trying to move the yellow shirts of Castlebar around the pitch, looking for the support play, and this time it's coming in the form of Nally again, and Garrymore moving forward. Micheál Connolly into the Castlebar 45. He's going to have a go with his left foot. He's going to try and curl that round, and that's going to go to the left and wide, and that's the second wide for Garrymore. And as you say, the early chances need to be taken.
Yeah, and he had Keelan Crowe coming off his shoulder there. If he had spotted him in time, and he was on the move, and the defence was opening up, but still maybe he was right to have the shot, but unfortunate to get it.
Ray O'Malley gets the short kick out from Rory Byrne, and he's allowed to travel with uncontested. Gets the ball to Danny Kirby, who delivers a quick ball inside, trying to release Durkin, but it's well read by Linsky, and he saw that pass coming from a fair while out. It was a great ball by Danny Kirby on the outside of the right foot. And Garrymore again just slowly building up. Fallon coming out the field. Gary Golden gets away, from one tackle. He has Danny Kirby for company on the other, and he draws the foul and thought about taking it quickly and does so. Gets it into the hands of Jimmy Killeen, the hero of last Sunday, and Jimmy with his left foot adds another one to his tally, and that's a great score from Jimmy Killeen. Almost his first touch of the game.
Yeah, and a great work from Gary Golden. He seems to have started very well now. He was a bit slower starting last week, but a super point from Jimmy.
Again, Byrne goes short, gets the ball, and Donny Newcombe being able to given license to roam, it seems, with push Garrymore back into their own half, and once again Castlebar are breaking through the lines of Garrymore, and the defenders aren't getting hands on players as the runners are coming through, and that's just gone over the bar and not wide. Just gone wide, and it's a second consecutive attack where there's hardly a hand place on a Castlebar attacker.
No, yeah, and it was just interesting there. Donny really took off Donny Newcombe. He's marking Jimmy Killeen. Jimmy had obviously popped the point, and Donny took off, and Jimmy left him go for about 50-60 yards. And I think if I was Donny Newcombe, I'd be doing the same thing for most of the match. Keep Jimmy as far away from the Mitchels goals as he can.
Trevor Nally can't keep hold of the ball, and either can Kieran Cunningham, but they managed to get the ball up as fast back to the hands of Brian Linsky, who cut out that through ball from Danny Kirby just a moment ago, where there was a potential goal chance on, and Miles Fallon finds himself all the way back in his own half back line. Caelan Crowe, as we said, wearing 28 instead of 11 today. It's going to be it's noticeable that for Garrymore they're playing the single player full forward, and the two corner forwards are playing out in the wings. But it's turned over well. Numbers again are making the difference for Castlebar, and they're breaking at pace. The runners are looking for quick ball. Danny Kirby brings it inside to midfield. This time James Durkin to Barry Moran. The slip there when the ball is turned over, but again it's a poor hand pass, and Gary Moore able to turn the ball over. Gary Golden again, who's seen plenty of the ball in this opening 7 minutes of this game, is trying to get Gary Moore moving in the right direction, and there's runners coming from deep, and Caelan Crowe, when you play the sweeper role you need to be able to get up and down, and Caelan is getting that ball inside, and Jamie King managed to keep up, but it's turned over, it's given away to Ray O'Malley, and they're breaking again, and Danny Kirby in the middle of the field is looking to play it for its time, but he decides to give a hand pass. No running option inside for him to deliver a quick ball, and Jeremy McDonough gets it inside. And Neil Douglas is being fouled and pulled, and you have to say, Michael Conroy, that Gary Moore are just defending in sheer numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. They're getting a lot of bodies back there, but I'm not so sure about that free there. Douglas went down the ball and kind of just coming up. Jamie Oates, I think, was on him and soft enough free, but just like the last day, it's been very sloppy. A lot of sloppy hand passes there around the middle, but it's the same nearly effect. It's slow build up from both sides, and both teams playing the sweeper. Castlebar playing with Ray O'Malley, and looks like Caelan Crowe and a couple of the Garrymore lads are changing who they have on the sweeper, but yeah, kind of like the same pattern as the last day.
As we wait this free to be taken, to 8.5 minutes gone, and it's going to be David Stenson with his right foot kicking into the breeze, and that's going to just get over the bar, so it's a 2-1 lead for Castlebar, and their tactics of pushing the Garrymore team back and releasing the ball already seems to be working.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what they're doing here. The kick out looks like they're going to on a full press here with kick-outs. I think they're going to try and force Linsky to go long. They would have had a lot of joy last day with long kick-outs, so I'd say that'll be part of the Castlebar plan tonight, try and get the keepers to go long.
In the second half, particularly last Sunday, Garrymore broke a lot of ball from the kickouts of Castlebar.
Yeah, we lost a good few in the first half, but I've noticed already Linsky had been hitting a few to Trevor Nally and has worked out okay, but he's got a good one to Golden this time, so yeah, he's definitely worked on the kickouts in the last few days. Gary
Golden declines the mark and comes inside to Caelan Crowe, who's pressed strongly but evades the tackle, and he's letting Shane Nally trying to get him on a run, and he has players left and right of him. The other one is Caelan Crowe, and Crowe has Trevor Nally, and they're trying to work a goal angle, but the pass was just slightly out, and Castlebar again defend and break out with the ball, and it's taken quickly to Danny Kirby. Kirby being faced up by Cathal Slattery. The ball gets away, and Johnny Maughan gets a fadeaway ball, and evades the tackle of Mark Turney. Could have been a big hit, but ball gets to James Durkin, who switches the play to the far side of the field to Donny Newcombe, who's already had 2 attacking forays in this opening 10 minutes of this game, and it seems to have already set into a bit of a predictability with Castlebar being encamped on the 45 for Garrymore, and Garrymore just trying to snuff out the attack and turn over the ball, but Castlebar are breaking through. Big hit there on, I think it's Barrymore, and the ball eventually gets into the hands of Douglas, and he has a snapshot and gets it over the bar, and that was a great kick, instinctive kick by Douglas.
Yeah, he got lucky. Barry was going for the ball and he got a nice hit, and the ball rebounded into Douglas and he doesn't miss from there. Interesting, Castlebar trying to move it through the hands, probably playing a bit narrow, but yeah, it was a good score. Mitchels 3-1 up.
Coming up to 11 minutes gone here at Elverys MacHale Park in the semi-final senior championship replay. Michael Conroy.
Yeah, just in the 4 or 5 kick-outs, they're forcing Garrymore to go along the whole time. You know what I mean? They're getting great joy out of it. I think they got one on the stand here from Trevor Nally, but after that, maybe they've got one or two more. But they're definitely winning the majority of them when they're forcing them along.
Barrymore breaks it down, and Bob eventually gets his way back to McDonough, and Castlebar can build again as their want. And free on this side is Shane Irwin. Hugging the touchline was Cian Costello, but they decide to go the Dyer group, break it inside, and Aidan Walsh is being held up by Kieran Cunningham. But the ball breaks to David Stenson, who's out supporting, and there's a ball, 2 players free inside if they can wear it, and that's a great ball from Paddy Durkin. Paddy Durkin gets it in, and it's coming through to Douglas, left-footed, and that's a goal for Castlebar. And you'd have to say that the pressure Castlebar had a chance of a goal a couple of moments ago, and they've put it away this time.
Yeah, it was a great finish. It was a patient move. Lovely little ball in over the top from Paddy Durkin. Disguised it looked like he was going shooting into O'Reilly. O'Reilly did really well, drew his man, and Douglas isn't going to miss from there. It's a great score.
1-3 Castlebar, Garrymore 1 point, and not the start that Garrymore would have envisaged.
Well, certainly not. They'd have been hoping to keep it tight for as long as they could, and they are playing with the breeze, but struggling out. Durkin on the overlap here again.
Durkin leaves off to his James swings it in with his right foot, and that's over the bar. That's a goal and a point in a couple of moments, and the Durkins are causing all sorts of problems from the wing back positions, Michael.
Yeah, they're linking up well there. You know, Paddy got a great ball. I think it was Owen Riley that sneaked in over the back, but Castlebar are a lot more pressing the kick out a lot better tonight. See, they're gone short there because they've been losing them, but Castlebar seem to be a lot more tuned in, and 1-4 to a point. It's a long way back, you know.
Linsky to Cunningham, but doesn't get it at the same time, and Danny Kirby turns it over, gives it to Douglas, and Danny Kirby is getting inside the 31, and he's going to have a goal, and that's a second goal. From the pressure that Castlebar were applying, and Danny Kirby swallowed up Brendan Cunningham, who couldn't take the ball in first time, and between nice exchange of passes between Douglas and Kirby, and he just buried it.
Yeah, look, just what Michael was saying, Linsky felt like the last 2 or 3 long kickouts, he put one over the line, so he's forced to go short, and all of a sudden Danny puts the turnover in. In there's always a chance of a goal, and great finish.
Linsky goes short again out to Jamie King. Thought about coming in field again, but that resulted in the goal a moment ago, and Garrymore with Keelan Crowe into Kieran Cunningham. They managed to get it switched out, and Castlebar are still pressing high. There's only very little support now for the thing, and the referee says there was a foul, and we're just going to, Michael Conroy, have another look at the Douglas goal here. It was very well worked.
Yeah, great ball in on the back, and a couple of quick hands and a good finish by Douglas. But Kirby's goal as well came from huge pressure from the kick out and huge tackling. Castlebar have worked on their tackling the last couple of years, and they've really, physical power has been good. But Garrymore on the attack here need a score.
Nally can't get the ball back up to his hand, but he gets it at the 3rd attempt, and that's a great score from Trevor Nally, who was such an influence in the first game, and I think that's a good response from Garrymore after conceding two goals and a point in quick succession.
Yeah, they needed to get something there on the board. Jamie Oates made a great break out of defence, and Trevor provided the overlap and finished well.
Rory Byrne goes short again. This has been a feature of his kickouts. His confidence may not be great after the last day, but the Castlebar able to work it through the hand again, and Paddy Durkin lays it off to Aidan Walsh. Walsh has Danny Kirby outside him, who's been running all day. Durkin's kept his run going if they can find him. Well held up there by Jamie Oates. Oates to Stinson to Maughan, and that's well blocked down, and James Durkin had a 1 or 2, and he's just thought he could squeeze it over, but it was well swallowed up, and the Garrymore defence are under ferocious pressure from the Castlebar forwards. They're pressing very high and forcing turnovers, but they got a free that time. But you'd have to say that the pressure that the backs are under isn't. They need more support from their forwards.
Yeah, well, Castlebar are definitely pushing an awful lot higher up, and it's causing Garrymore a few problems. They've been a bit unlucky on one, or like the Brendan Cunningham dispossession was a bit unlucky. They had to try and go short, and but they need to just try and keep in this game if they can.
Costello goes in field as a choice of 3 to pass it, and Paddy Durkin manages to switch the play again to Jamie Durkin, and he's going to have a run at MacHale. No change there, so back around the house, out to midfield, out to Barry Moran. Moran decides to come into midfield. Is going to go ahead of Cian Costello. He's there if he needs him, but Douglas is available. But instead he was going to be a card, and that Trevor Nally didn't really have to do that. You can see what he was trying to do, but
yeah, probably a bit of frustration there. They probably had a man on the overlap too, but yeah, a bit over physical on that one. Yeah.
John, what Ronan Gurran, the referee, is going to show here was a yellow card.
Yeah, it was one thing noticeable about Castlebar today is the width they have in the game. Like you see Cian Costello here hugging the line, a lot of good runs. He's making our diagonal runs. He's coming off the shoulder and he's causing Ali problems. But the width is very noticeable today. Castlebar a lot wider, and there seems to be a lot more urgency with them when they have the ball. They're moving a lot quicker.
Neil Douglas standing over this free. He's going to see if he can extend Castlebar's lead. Gets a good connection and he's over the bar.
Yeah, the confidence is very high. Neil Douglas now and all the Castlebar lads, they're all getting the touches and their hands on the balls. The confidence is high, but that score came from direct from Miles Fallon kicking the ball away down the throat of the sweeper, which you can't do against Castlebar. Mopped it up, patient. Cian Costello takes the free and over the bar. You know, it's exactly what you can't do against Castlebar in conditions like this, especially when you're down 7 or 8 points.
Linsky decides to go long this time, and the ball is broken by Barry Moore, and he goes after his own bird but can't get there ahead of Darren Quinn. And Garrymore work the ball in field. Jamie King, Keelan Crowe trying to take the game to Castlebar, attracts 3 players and switches the angle of the play, but again just Jimmy Keeling in the full forward line with the sweeper sitting in front of him isn't giving Garrymore an out ball at the moment, and Nally gathers the ball at the second attempt. He has Jamie King outside him if he chooses to take it, but he comes in field and he comes straight into Aidan Walsh and into traffic, but that time Walsh draws the foul, and you can see that Garrymore trying to release that ball early, but with the sweeper sitting back there it's harder to pick a target.
Yeah, they just need to stay patient on that and not trying to get it in too quick with their sweeper in there. But Trevor did well there. Aidan Welsh probably a bit of a lazy tackle there and gave Trevor a soft enough free because he was running into 3 players. Similar
angle of play the last day with the Garrymore wing forwards, corner forwards holding the width and just the focal point, and they rotate the player inside every 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, they're trying to do that there. I suppose try and save energy on a few of the players, but I know Castlebar are doing the same this time. They have their 2 wing forwards playing very wide and trying to stretch the play.
Another score from Jimmy Killian off his left boot. 3 points Garrymore, 2-5 Castlebar. 18 minutes gone in this replay of the Mayo Senior Football Championships Treanlaur Catering sponsored competition, and Garrymore get that kicker with Tierney. Shane Nally no option on, so he's gets it over the 3 players pressing, and Gary Golden can have a run now. He's being chased down by Kirby again. He's turned over the ball, and Barry Moran comes away with the ball after good work by Kirby and Durkin. Johnny Maughan into Durkin, and Maughan is still going, and it's going really have a go again. He's had 1 shot already that went wide, and that's another one that went wide, but the turnover was very good. Yeah, they're very strong in the tackle, Castlebar. They've really the homework done and where to stop Garrymore in that middle third. They're not letting them to look up and kick the ball in. Now Garrymore doing a lot of kicking in, but they're putting great pressure on down the middle. Brendan Cunningham, another ball spills from the hand, and he tries to go after the ball and he just catches Aidan Walsh, and it's just going to be a free on the 45, but Ronan Gurran is going to bring him back and have a chat, but it was innocuous enough. It was just an error in handling, and he just went chasing the ball.
Yeah, the second one, Brendan has dropped it. Brendan's usually very good handler of the ball, but just a bit unlucky there again. But tough free this now, 45, good free if he kicks it over. Garrymore of
3 points on the board. If Neil Douglas can get this over, it's going to be a big lead as we get to the 20th minute of this first half. just on the 45, kicking into a stiff breeze. He put one over from about 10-15 yards closer just a few moments ago, so he's going to have another go of it. He's struck it well, but it's just gone to the left and wide, and it seems Castlebar are getting joy out around the rim, Michael.
Yeah, and interesting to see they've played Danny Kirby out there, tonight rather than full forward. He's been involved in a lot of stuff, and he's won one from play got. So that tactic is definitely working. He seems to be a lot freer and moving a lot better, getting his hands on the ball and confidence high again.
Linsky goes long, broken that time by Aidan Walsh to a waiting Danny Kirby, and tries to release, but just a slip at the last minute, and it's followed up, and it's a foul by Paddy Durkin this time, and Garrymore want to get the game moving as quick as they can, and it's another ball turned over by Garrymore in their own half back line, and they're causing themselves some problem, and Stenson gathers it up, gives it into Johnny Maughan, and Cian Costello, being tightly marshalled, is being forced into the corner, and it's good pressure from the Garrymore defence, and that's a turnover ball, and that's well defended, and Garrymore are trying to get another few scores before half time, try to not let the lead get too far ahead. Hessian hasn't seen much of the ball in the first half, been pressed back. Nally looking for a target again, and has the runner beside him, and Garrymore have Jimmy Killian inside on his own. He's trying to drag his marker out of the way to create some space. Trevor Nally, who's seen plenty of the ball in this first half, close to overcarrying but gets away with it, comes into Tierney, who cuts inside on his favoured left foot, and you'd have to say that's a great score from Mark Tierney under pressure from the Castlebar defence.
Yeah, brilliant score. Trevor again pushing up forward. Slattery had snuck inside there if Tierney had spotted him there, but still good score to keep us in the game.
Castlebar 2-5, Garrymore 4 points. Just come up to 22 minutes gone. Don't forget, you can get in contact with us on Twitter at Mayo GAA TV, or on a Facebook page, or send us an email. Castlebar, find him. Connolly gives it to Nally, back to Connolly, who's continued his run, and the arm up is inside if they can hit the ball inside, but they decides to go to Trevor Nally, and they're going to allow time for Castlebar to filter back. The ball needs to be delivered quicker, you think, and Slattery this time is going to have a go, and that's a great score from Carl Slattery, and that's 2 good points in the space of 2 minutes for Garrymore, and they're starting to get a little bit of momentum.
Yeah, a few good long range points. Yeah, Slattery, brilliant finish there. They have the forwards to finish if they just get them in and be patient to get it to the right guy.
Not releasing the ball quick enough, Garrymore is allowing Castlebar to get back, but they're bypassing that by long range shooting.
Yeah, definitely a bit better, but going what the Garrymore are good at, turning over the ball, is what they did here, and work the ball up in a long range goal from Carl Slattery. Great score, but they're going to need more from Martini. I know he scored 2-1 against Ballina and 1-6 against Charlestown. He's a great score got tonight, but they're going to need more for him to get back into the game.
Ball drifted inside towards and they work surrounded by 3 Castlebar players, managed to get the ball off, and they're trying to get it into the right angle to get to the right player, have a shot on the loop is Gary Golden. He's going to have a pull the trigger on his right foot, and that's another fine score for Garrymore. 3 on the spin for Garrymore, and this crowd is starting to see signs of life from their Garrymore team, and you'd have to say that the long range shooting is working well at the moment.
Yeah, and they showed great patience there. Mark Tierney did very well with the difficult ball and brought it back in around and worked it to Golden, and a great score.
Rory Byrne trying to find Barry Moore, but that's going to go kept in play by Keelan Crowe to Jimmy Killeen, and Jimmy trying to bend one in on his left foot. It's going to drop in the square. Rory Byrne didn't know to stick or twist, he did neither, and it's a scramble in the goal mouth, and Miles Fallon almost got it in the net, and Rory Byrne will be thankful that his goal has survived. He made the initial error with the poor kick out, and he didn't exactly want to come and claim that ball.
No, I think maybe the lights, Tom. It might have been the lights, I'm not sure. But it was a poor kick out. He put it down on top of Barry, and over the line there was 2 Garrymore men on Barry, but Mitchell's here in the attack.
Douglas out around the middle, gets it into Shane Irwin. Irwin looking for the runner, gives it back to Douglas, finds Stenson. Douglas has continued his run. It comes to Danny Kirby, and he has options right, and one of those is Barry Moore, and he comes back to Danny Kirby on the loop, and he's going to have a go just to settle it down again for Castlebar. A well worked score for Castlebar.
Yeah, Castlebar needed that, Tom. I think Garrymore kicked some long range points, but I think Castlebar just got a little bit lazy around the middle of the pitch, not putting the tackles in there were earlier on.
Long ball down in the front of the stand here of Elverys MacHale Park, kept in by Jimmy Killeen, and that's going to bring Garrymore on the attack, and Castlebar struggling to get numbers, and Jimmy's cut inside, and this one is just going to drop short, and Rory Byrne decides to keep it in play, and strong challenge on Johnny Maughan, but the referee deems it as a free and it's quickly taken. Donny Newcombe can get out to Douglas, who finds himself out in the middle of the field momentarily, just players rotating inside, giving each other a rest. Danny Kirby's gone into the full forward line, and Castlebar trying to split the play, but that's a stray pass.
Yeah, just instantly in there, and that last play, Jimmy Killeen's Jeremy McDonough made 10 or 12 yards, just got a half block in to put him off. Kind of stuff that they weren't doing last Sunday. They're definitely doing it tonight, and that's what has them 2-6 ahead.
It's a 2-goal game, and chance of a goal a few moments for Garrymore, and they'll take confidence from the way that they've got a foothold back in this game, and once again they're being driven forward by their captain. Feeds it into Carl Slattery, who has pace. He's been challenged by Donny Newcombe, being held up, but he spins around 360 and right footed over the bar. A great score from Carl Slattery.
That's as good as you'll see today. Brilliant pace by Slattery, and when he got into trouble he had the other foot to slat it over with.
The advantage of being two-footed even. You know all about that, Michael Conroy.
I know my left is for standing on the right for kicking. But Garrymore, fair play to them. Going 7 or 8 points down like the last. They went 6 down, but they obviously stick to the process and stick at it. And they're back in the game now, albeit 5 points down. But they're a lot better than they were.
26 and a half minutes gone here at Elverys MacHale Park, and Garrymore taking the game to Castlebar in the last few moments, and they're forcing turnovers and possession. And Neil Douglas finds himself shadowed by Caelan Crowe, manages to get the ball to Aidan Walsh, and Walsh is going to hit an early ball inside to Cian Costello, and Costello is taking on Jamie Oates, gives a quick ball inside, and there's a return ball on if you can find him, but that's a tackle over the shoulder. That's a free all day long, and you'd have to say that Castlebar are maybe a little bit stunned by what Garrymore have done to them in the last few moments.
I wouldn't say they're stunned, but they look like they're back responding. It's interesting. Danny Kirby's moved into full forward. Neil Douglas has come out there for the last couple of plays, but there's no point in having Danny in there now if we don't start kicking ball into him, because we have a height advantage. It was noticeable the first game on Sunday as well. He moved in, but there was no ball going in on top of him. I think they need to just try it, hit 1 or 2 in and see what comes out of it. But this should be a tap over for David Stinson to put the game back to 6 points.
When Kirby plays in the full forward, the ball that Castlebar have used, and we've seen it in games previous to this, is the angle. Danny Kirby will take up a position just on the edge of the large square, and the ball will be whipped in from the left or the right wing on it.
Kind of like from right half back or left half back, the long floater, and it's a hard one to judge. But like Danny Kirby's 1-2 got from midfield. The only reason I presume he's gone into the edge of the square is just for a breather for the second half. They'll probably put him back out because he's doing a lot of damage out there. But look at back to 6 point game. So interesting to see where it goes from here going into half time.
7-7 coming up to 28 minutes gone here in the first half of the Mayo Senior Championship semi-final replay, live from Elverys MacHale Park on MayoGATV.com. and don't forget, as we said, you can get in touch with us on Twitter or on Facebook. Linsky goes long. Break is won by Gary Golden. He's been hounded by Danny Kirby and Neil Douglas, and they both find themselves in midfield now, and they're trying to work the ball quickly, but he's going to deliver it long now. It's a high ball in over the top, trying to find Mark Tierney. If he can turn and he has support, he's going to get that in, and that's going to be a free. And it was a good free kick inside, and you can see what Mark was trying to do, maybe drop the shoulder and turn and try and get in on goal.
Yeah, he's got a good few goals this year. He's 4 goals got in the championship this year, and a few of them have come like that long ball in over the top, and he's very powerful and did well to get the free.
He enjoys playing off the shoulder just on the last defender, and when he's inside 21 yards he's deadly from in there.
Yeah, he'll go for goal any chance he gets, and we could do with a goal maybe at some stage, but another point here just to keep us in the game is good.
Tapped over back to a 5-point game, and Garrymore, going to be a couple of minutes of extra time as both management teams get ready for half-time team talks, and I'm sure the management of Kevin Walsh and his selectors will be very happy with how the mental toughness that his team have shown to come back from that early start from Castlebar. That time the break being off by Danny Kirby, and he's been held up, and the ref Ronan Gurn decides he's been fouled, and he's trying to take it quickly, and he does get it away. And at the Castlebar have numbers if they can work it right. There's players coming to the left and right, and it eventually finds its way to Douglas, and he kind of hits the ball sort of half off balance when he had Aidan Walsh ahead of him, when he could have just popped it off.
Yeah, I totally agree, Tom. Shot wasn't on. He was falling off balance on his left foot. He should have moved it on to either Aidan Walsh or Keane Costello. 100% right.
Yeah, just slightly what they were doing the last day, you know what I mean? They had 7 or 8 wides in the first half, and that's it, just from wrong shot selection, and that's what's letting the likes of Garrymore get back into the game.
Great break won there by Garrymore by Kieran Cunningham, and Nally trying to win the ball back, and Barry Moran is down there. Neil Douglas, it for all intents and purposes could have been a scrum down on the 45, and I think Kieran Cunningham and Barry Moran were just getting to know each other a little bit there, but it's going to be a free for Garrymore, delivered in long by Shane Nally, and he's again looking for Tierney just off the shoulder, but the sweeper is back doing his job, but it breaks, can't quite pop it up, and it does eventually find its way out, and they spin and turn on the right foot, and that's just going to go just to the right of wide. But you can see the tactic, using that breeze, deliver the high ball in, cause a bit of trouble, as Kevin mentioned earlier, lose the ball in the lights a bit.
Yeah, probably trying to sneak a goal before half time to narrow the gap, and it's probably not a bad idea. And maybe Mark was a bit unlucky there not to get a score. He just couldn't find the space and rushed the shot.
Ronan Gurn just looking to have a word. I think he's just speaking to Kieran Cunningham, maybe telling them, himself and Danny Kirby, just to settle down. Byrne goes long that time. Mark declined by Shane Irwin, and he's off to the races, and he's going to hit an early ball inside. The only player inside is Goss Durkin, and he lays it off well to Barry Moore. Barry on his right foot. Quick, simple football from Castlebar. Hit the ball quick, deliver it fast. You're going to get scores.
Yeah, you won't see a better score than that. Four passes. Rory Byrne to Shane Irwin. Shane Irwin into Keane Costello. Lay off to Barry, and a super score. That puts it back to 6 points. And I'd say this is the half-time whistle, Tom.
There's a slight concern here for Castlebar. They have a player down just outside the 21. I can't quite see who it is. I'm not sure if it's not Keane Costello who delivered the pass, but at half time it's 2-8 to Castlebar, 8 points to Garrymore. It's Aidan Walsh who might have gone over on an ankle when he was trying to support Danny Kirby. So that'll be a bit of a concern for Castlebar. So at half time it's a 2-goal game, and it's you'd have to say if the first half is a measurement, the second half could be very inciting. And we hand over to Liam now at half time.
Okay, thank you very much, Tom. I'm going to join Mickey Conroy and Jimmy Lyons first of all as our match analysts. Mickey, what did you make of that?
Yeah, look, I thought Castlebar started very, very well. Very slick in the hand passes. They seemed to be moving off the shoulder, kept it very wide, got the couple of goals, and went 7 or 8 or 9 ahead, I think, at one stage. But typical Garrymore, you know, they're never beaten, came back into it, got a couple of great scores from long range, realised they weren't getting some joy in the inside line, you know. But incidentally, they've 2 high balls gone in there on top of Martini. He's won both of them. They nearly got 2 scores, they definitely got 1. So it might be something that they might think about doing in the second half. But look at Castlebar, as I said, started very, very well, very slick in the hand passes, taking their scores like they didn't last Sunday. But fair dues to Garrymore, they've come really right back into it, and 6-point game. Yeah,
the evening is deteriorating rapidly here now. We've got driving rain, 6 points in it, 2-8 to 8. The obvious point, Jimmy Lyons, the goals.
Yeah, well, it's very obvious, but the goals are the difference here. Started off tit for tat, point for point, 2 points each, and then suddenly just a period of 2 or 3 minutes where Castlebar just stepped it up a gear. Great ball in by Paddy Durkin, split the defence, laid off to Neil Douglas on a goal, and then before he knew it, the ball was in the back of the net again. A bad turnover by Garrymore, tried to work the ball out short. They had a lot of difficulty with the kick-outs before that, so they did go short, but they were turned over a couple of times. But in the last, they start to get a bit of parity around the middle of the field. Then they started winning their own kick-outs, and they've won 4 Castlebar kick-outs, which Castlebar started going long, where early on they were going short all the time, they were retaining possession, so they lost control of the game, and Garrymore are really back in it. They would go in at half time very heartened by the last 10 minutes.
Are these 2 goals too much to climb here?
You don't know. I mean, if Garrymore came out and got a goal inside the first 10 minutes, if they keep in touch, don't let it get any further away.
The evidence last Sunday was if Castlebar got the goal inside the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, you just don't know. What I will say about Garrymore is they stick to their game plan. They're extremely resilient, they're extremely disciplined. They didn't deviate from it. There was no panic there. They moved the ball sensibly, and when they saw point opportunities, they took them. They didn't work any further than they needed to. Some great scores taken from distance here. Jimmy Killeen and young Carl Slattery, Martini, Tierney, they're all well able to take scores.
There's a man who's impressed, Cathal Slattery.
Yeah, he's a couple of great point scored there. He's a lovely left foot, and he got a great goal the last day, and could have got two maybe. But like Jimmy said there, Garrymore, they will never give up. They were 6 down last week, came back, got it back to level. Then they went 3 down with about, I think there was only 5 or 6 minutes left, and got it back level again. So look, they'll be in the dressing room there. They'll be going through what they did well in the second half. Be very interesting to see what they do on the kick out. Brian Linsky's gone short on one occasion, caught them a goal. He's gone long on a couple of occasions, and they've got a lot of change from Castlebar. So it's really interesting to see what they do the second half. But for me, the kind of standout at the minute is Danny Kirby. He's 1-2 scored from play from midfield. He's moved from his full forward berth that he was the last day, and he's really impressed me at midfield.
Castlebar playing with more urgency overall, Mickey.
Yeah, completely. Look, they had to. The last day, Garrymore really brought it to, and they brought the game to. They obviously have a bit of video work done. They've realised that, listen, if we want to get to a county final to play against their neighbours, Ballintober, they're going to have to up their game. They definitely have. They'd upped in the physical stakes. They've been very economical on the scoreboard. They've only 4 or 5 wides, which the last day they did 7 or 8 in the first half alone. So they really have their eye on the ball tonight, and interesting to see in the second half. They are playing with a bit of a breeze, albeit they're not kicking long ball. Will Danny Kirby go in along the full forward line with Barry Moore, and maybe the two of them like the Twin Towers, and we get 1 or 2 balls into them, which they might, but interesting to see what's going to happen.
Actually, speaking of county finals, I see you've qualified for one yourself this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. So big game on Saturday night, county final for myself. I thought my days of playing in county finals were over. Unfortunately for me, it's relegation. So look, we're playing Ballinrobe, and we'll see how that goes.
Bacon Saturday night. Jimmy, you were keeping a pretty close eye on Castlebar to see signs of where they're getting their game back. Well, where do you feel about that? Where do you stand on that now?
Well, I'd to say they have. They start with great urgency. You could see that there was more method to what they were doing. They were keeping their 2 wing forwards out wide. Keane Costello was hugging the left wing out here, and James Durkin hugging the other. So they were spreading the ball from one side to the other. A little bit actually like Dublin were doing against Tyrone in the All-Ireland semi-final. So they were spreading the ball out wide, stretching Garrymore, because Garrymore were getting numbers back there. They wanted to get them out of that sort of setup that they had in front of their goal line, and then people coming through the middle, like Barry Moore and Danny Kirby, Owen O'Reilly, punching the holes there.
Okay, well, that's been Jimmy Lyons and Mickey Conroy looking over the bones of that first half, but it's certainly the early goals from Garrymore or from Castlebar Mitchels set the tone, and we are going to get Kevin Phelan to take
We're probably not playing as deep today. Obviously, with the breeze, they had to push out a bit more and go for the game a bit more. But I don't know who had drifted inside the cover there, and the free went in quick, O'Reilly, and he laid it off and a good finish.
Okay, I'm not sure had we lost the sound there for a few moments. If we did, we will relive with Jimmy Lyons and Mickey Conroy. If we had a loss of sound for a few minutes, we're going to check that. We possibly had a loss of sound for a few minutes. And the second goal was Danny Kirby, and Kevin Phelan of Castlebar Mitchels, you're going to call this one.
Yeah, so Brendan Linsky went short here to the right corner back. You can see here, short ball, back to the goalkeeper. So he played a little ball over the top. Danny swarmed him. Danny knocks the ball out. Neil Douglas picks up the break, pops it Danny off the right shoulder. Danny's not going to miss from there, bang, goal.
He's a very reliable goal scorer for Mitchels, isn't he?
Down through the years, Danny is always noted to get a goal. Like you saw last week, he got the first goal at the start of the second half. He's known to get goals. But
what's the quality? Is the way he just drifts a little bit further on. Donny Vaughan has sometimes that kind of ability to appear somewhere out of the blue.
Yeah, he just has a knack for getting goals, and there might be the classiest of goals. He'll get toe pokes, or he's in the right position. He's probably played a lot of soccer in his younger years, and it's just getting in around the goals, and when he's there in front of them, he can finish them.
Okay, I'm going to bring Danny and Kevin over here again, having looked at those half-time highlights. Unfortunately, Danny, those 2 goals, as has been alluded to, were Very significant, because while Garrymore have played some very good football and got some excellent scores, that cushion is there all the time. It got to 5, I think. Was it maybe? Did it go to 4? I don't think it got to 4, did it?
No, I don't think they got it 4. But falling behind like that, they should well to stay in the game. Like, they had been 9 points down at one stage. Very easy to fold up and let Castlebar run riot. But they fought back well, which they had to do, and but still kept their shape. Probably the Castlebar have pushed up an awful lot further this time, compared to last week, and I suppose Garrymore, have to be pushing out a bit more with the strong breeze. So you never know. They probably need to get a goal or two now after half time, but they've got goals. They've been scoring goals well this year. They've 10 goals in the championship, in the 5 games. So hopefully they can get something early in the second half.
Okay, Kevin, who has impressed you for Mitchells? Who has lifted it today?
Danny Kirby for sure. First half, really good first half. I was disappointed with him. He was probably disappointed himself with his display last week in the first half. His handling was poor.
I thought you were going to say he was disappointed that you were disappointed in him.
Maybe so. I'm getting confused now. But Neil Douglas has played really well today. I felt he won an awful lot of ball out in front of Oates last week, but he didn't convert. Today he's converted. He's looked a lot sharper. This game, is probably going to suit the likes of Neil Douglas. It's going to suit the likes of Aidan Walsh. It's going to suit Danny as well. I was kind of thinking on Sunday maybe you need a week's rest, but you can see it. There's a little bit of a pep in their step. Ray O'Malley's been very commanding. His position sense is really good. King Costello, I think, is probably asking questions of Trevor Nally that James Durkin didn't ask the last day. His width is really good. His work rate is good. He's shifting in and out of the full forward line as well. He's making Trevor think. He's keeping him on the back foot. Jonah Newcombe has been really good today as well. Again, he's been putting Jimmy Killian on the back foot. He's keeping as far away from the Mitchells goal as he can. Sometimes, attack is the best form of defence.
Okay, well, do go onto our Facebook page. We have a like and share competition there. Prize of an Elverys voucher and an Elverys Mayo top as well, if you go on there. And next weekend we have, of course, the intermediate final between Moy Davits and Kilchima, and Ballintubber, and tonight's winners in the semi-final of the county final, the county senior football championship final. Danny, can you get there?
They came back from 8 points down against Ballina, so this should be no problem to them.
It is Mitchells now we're talking about here, Danny.
Ballina have quite a good team as well. But no, we do need to hope that we get a goal early in the second half and put the pressure on. And Garrymore are very fit. They're playing against the breeze. It's a big ask now, but they've shown great resilience all year and have played really well. And they're certainly going to give it a go, and they're fit enough to do it. But we need to get a few breaks now.
Okay, we're going to rejoin match commentator Tom Carney in a few moments' time. We have the referee and his officials back out on the field. We're just waiting on the teams to come back out. It shouldn't be too long now. Ronan Gurn, of course, our match referee this evening. Seems to be a good crowd here, Kevin. You'd be better at judging the stand here than most of us. What do you think?
Yeah, it's filled up nicely, Liam. It's definitely a couple of thousand. People in my own are getting used to these, getting spoiled for these Wednesday evening games. So yeah, it's great to see it, and the rain has stopped again, so hopefully that's the way it's going to stay.
Yes, the rain has cleared. We had an unmerciful shower there, an unmerciful shower a few moments ago. That seems to have cleared away. At half time, if you've just joined us, it's Castlebar Mitchels 2 goals and 8, Garrymore 8 points, and the scores from Garrymore from Castlebar Mitchels causing a lot of the trouble in the first half. The 2 goals causing huge trouble for Garrymore. They came in quick succession, Danny, too. They felt like hammer blows. Garrymore did recover, but they were, at the time, they were really serious blows.
Yeah, well, the first one, was a good goal, but I suppose the second one was a mistake. Maybe just, Brian Liskey put it out to Brendan Cunningham. It was a bit tight. Brendan got the ball, but, a great tackle, knocked it out of his hand, and, they did really well to finish it as well. But 2 goals in quick succession, it's a real hammer blow. And in fact, I do think Garrymore have done well to claw themselves back in the game and just try and stay in touch. So they've done well, and they've got some great scores from play. So yeah, they're just coming back out in the field.
Against that breeze, Danny, Garrymore have good, strong men to carry the ball. Trevor Nally, Shane Nally, Keelan Crowe, Gary Golden. They're not without some power if they're to carry against that breeze.
Yeah, and they've been getting good success. Like Golden and Trevor Nally have been, going up the field well today. And that's where our scores are going to come from. But yeah, absolutely, it's a counter-attacking game they play. Keeping the ball in hand and trying to break the lines.
Yeah, I just feel, Liam, that Keelan probably needs to push on a bit. I felt the last 10 minutes of the first half, Garrymore probably did put a bit more pressure on Roy Byrne's kickouts, and they probably need to do the same for the start of the second half. They probably need to push up, bring the game to Mitchells. If they sit back like they did for the first 15 minutes, the game is going to be over. look, I think they'll be told in the Castlebar dressing room, no goals. That'll be the big thing. If they don't concede any goals, block up the space in front of the goals, it's going to be very hard for Garrymore to come back and win, by kicking points.
Player a lot of people are keeping an eye on, Ger McDonough, of course. How do you feel he's going this evening?
Yeah, playing left half back. They've obviously decided to put more of the bigger men around the middle of the park. He's going well. He's going really well. It was instrumental in a lot of the early wins from breaking ball around kickouts. He's been linking the play really well. Paddy's in it again a lot more tonight as well. Seems to be playing more forward than he was the last day. So all the big players to stand up. Even Barry wouldn't be noted for running 60 yards and turning over a ball, and he did it down here in front of us in the stand and set up a point early doors. So he's coming back.
Took a great point there as well.
Yeah, took the right option. There could have been a goal on. More inexperienced players might have chased a goal down, but he popped it over to bring the game back to 6 points.
Yeah, and that's where it is. 2 goals and 8 points. Jimmy Lyons is here as well. We're going to get a final word from Jimmy and from Mickey, as well as Danny and Kevin resume their commentary positions. And we have a final word from both Mickey and Jimmy. You're still both saying Castlebar, I think.
Look at the minute, it's the obvious pick, I suppose. They're 6 points ahead. They're playing with the breeze. They are a lot slicker if they play the first 10-15 minutes like they did the first half. I can't see Garrymore coming back into it, but then again, I'd never write them off the way they go.
In a word, Jimmy?
Yeah, it has to be Castlebar. You'd have to say that Garrymore put in a massive effort in the first half last Sunday. They're bound to be feeling in the legs at this stage.
Okay, well, we're back to match commentator Tom Kearney and his commentary team of Kevin Filan of Castlebar Mitchels, Danny McHugh of Garrymore. Thank you.
Thank you, Liam. Thankfully, the rain seems to have abated, and here in MacHale Park, that shower, they timed it well just to start as we came to a close of the first half, and as the players have come out, just seeing what's going on. And Castlebar,
it's even interesting to see there Garrymore have he's pushing him up now. Shane Owen is up here on his own. It looked like Garrymore have 7 back straight away now, but
you have to have the players have to start in their position. So the referee Ronan Gurran just insisting on maybe that was a reveal of the tactic, that they're going to employ, and maybe Patrick Hession just got the message wrong at the start there. So we're just waiting now for the referee to throw the ball up. Hession is going back, and then they're all back in here, and Paddy Durkin has gone to wing forward, as is Neil Douglas, and Garrymore get the throw. Gary Golden looking to get Garrymore moving, and as we said, they're only 2 goals down. They created a couple of half chances, so they'll be looking to certainly see if they can do something. And great spin on there by Trevor Nally, and he gets it to Gary Golden again as the rain actually comes back here at Elverys MacHale Park. Ball with Slattery. He's trying to cut through 2 players, but again it's a lazy tackle as he was just trying to wriggle through.
It's funny, I say that tactic from the start where they had one of the guys in that kind of hole. It came from the last day where they scored 1-1 just after, or a goal just after half time, and a point in the first half. But it's completely flip flop. Garrymore have won the 2 throw-ins, and they're going to more than likely get a score from this one.
Bit of a lazy tackle as the player was trying to go through there.
Yeah, there probably was. He just needed to stand him up. There was 2 Mitchells against the Garrymore man. I'm not sure, who was that coming through? Was it Derek Quinn? Keelan Crowe. So yeah, it was a bit of a lazy hand. It's a tap over for Jimmy Kay.
It'll be a good start for Garrymore if Jimmy can get them up and moving, and he does so. So a good start to the second half for Garrymore.
Yeah, at the stage last week there was 6 down, 5 down. Now they just need to keep in this game, keep tacking over points, and try and get to within 1 score of Castlebar.
Byrne goes short again, delivered quickly to Douglas. Douglas gets his head up straight away. He's looking for the diagonal ball for Costello, and he's looking for the runner to come through. That time again was Danny Kirby, but he gets to Stenson, who has a swing with his left foot, and he manages to get that over the bar. And
yeah, super score, Tom. That was, kick out from Rory, fell into the hands of Ray O'Malley. Ray O'Malley, super ball into Neil Douglas, and what a diagonal ball across to Keane Costello. Keane Costello laid it off to David Stenson, and great score.
Player down injured. It might have been a slight coming together. We didn't see what happened, but both players receiving attention. It'll be 2-goal game again, and it's Keane Costello after laying off that pass. Maybe got a free. Michael Conroy, did you see something?
Yeah, no, but just Keane, I think, is playing on the inside line. There were another score like that came in the first half from Barrymore, but I think Roy Byrne is playing very well in goal. He's bar that flap he had in the first half. He's getting a lot of kick-outs away. Ray O'Malley that time sold it down, 2 quick kick passes, and a great score from Stenson, flicked it up on the right and over on the left.
The experience of Castlebar, they're going for 3 in a row, played 2 county finals. That experience should be enough to see them through.
Yeah, I'd say once you see go down the stretch with the last 10-12 minutes to go, that you'll see them slowing down the ball and getting numbers back just to run the clock and block up that last third of the pitch where Garrymore are being dangerous.
MacHale Connolly couldn't quite keep hold of the ball, and Garrymore transitioned very quickly and comes out to Danny Kirby, who feeds it out wide, and it's going to be Douglas cutting in on his right foot. Try to cut, well read by captain Brendan Cunningham, and Garrymore built from the back. Gary Golden to Cunningham, takes a hit from Danny Kirby, manages to lays it off to MacHale Connolly, who's looking for support, and he goes wide out on the far side to get Garrymore going, but they're pressed again, and Castlebar are defending in numbers and giving in hits. That time Donny Newcomb putting in a good tackle on Jamie King, but he manages to retain possession at the second attempt. Keelan Crowe, and there's a referee said no. It would look like a third man tackle call there, but the referee said no, and as he was going down to pick up the ball, you've seen them given though.
Yeah, I think actually it was a third man tackle from Gary Golden there in the middle of the pitch that stopped Barry Moran's run, but look at Gary Moore kept on with the play and got the free in. Jimmy Killing probably with another one.
John Glabby saw it and put his hand up and said it wasn't. He called it accidental, so the play progressed, and another free opportunity for Jimmy Killing.
Yeah, hopefully Jimmy will slot this over. I think, again, getting it down to 5. Garrymore looked to have a good shape now again in the second half. I think sometimes actually they prefer to play this kind of system a bit more deeper and work it from deeper, and just get it back to 5 again.
Ronan Gurran, the referee, gives that free, and then Jimmy Killing dispatches it, and we're a 5-point game, which is the closest Garrymore have been on a couple of occasions. 5 points has been in, so Rory Byrne goes short again. That's it. With Garrymore trying to defend slightly deeper there, trying to force a turnover, and that time the ball is sprayed loose. Miles Fallon couldn't keep it in. He finds a way over to Cathal Slattery. There's after Shane Nally. Back to Slattery, who's going to try and change the angle of play with Gary Golden. Golden to Keelan Crowe. Back to Golden, and he's going to have a run at the Castlebar defence, and he manages to lay it off as he's falling down to Keelan Crowe. Continued his run, gets it off to MacHale Connolly, who sells a dummy, tries to sell another one. He's looking for an out ball, and he just turned over Danny Kirby. The sheer numbers again of the Castlebar defenders are turning the ball over, and Castlebar are breaking at pace, this time with the fullback Jerry McDonough switches inside to Kirby, who slides along his knee, gives it back to Donny Newcomb, who continued his run, and that's a fine score from Castlebar. Transition of play from back to front. Danny Kirby broke the play up, he continued his run, laid off the pass, sliding on his knees into Donny Newcomb.
Oh yeah, class, he's playing great stuff, Danny Kirby, but won the turnover, quick speed in the attack. Jerry McDonough followed the play, little dodgy hand pass from Danny Kirby, but a beautiful slide into Donny Newcomb, and another point. He scored one last week as well.
2-10 plays 10 here in Elverys MacHale Park, just coming up to 6 minutes gone in the second half of the Treanlaur Catering Senior Football Championship semi-final replay, live for you on MayoGAA.tv.com. Say hello to Ronan O'Boyle, who's watching from London. Friend of yours?
Yeah, good man, Boiler. Hope you're enjoying it. And there's another man over there as well, I know, that's watching, Kieran O'Brien. He was over last Sunday for the game, so hope you're enjoying it, Kiwi.
Cathal Slattery to Gary Golden. Again in the early Gary Golden seeing plenty of the ball. He's almost playing like a playmaker there in the middle of the field for Garrymore the last couple of games.
Yeah, he's doing well there today. He's still sticking and fighting. Garrymore should have taken the point maybe a few minutes ago. Would have got it down to 4. Now it's 6, but into Trevor Nally here now. So
Trevor Nally trying to get away from Danny Kirby, can't escape the attention of Shane Irwin though, so it gives away a free, another free you'd have to say, and the referee says he wants to have a chat with Shane Irwin maybe for a couple of fouls, so Jimmy Killian will leave this one for Mark Tierney, the right footer, and again you'd have to say a tackle that was a bit lazy.
Yeah, the guys, Declan Shaw and Declan Riley will not be happy with the indiscipline in the Castlebar Mitchels backline there at the start of the second half. This is the third free they've given away, needless fouls, all you need to do is stop up the man, so Jimmy Killian ain't going to miss this either. No, Tierney's kicking this, he won't miss this.
Mark Tierney slots it over, and Gary Moore seemed to be running the ball more, trying to drive that Castlebar defence back.
Yeah, they seem to have started fairly well in this half now. They need to keep the pressure on their kick out. They're pushing up there on it.
Barry Moran claims the mark off Gary Golden, and Rory Byrne for the second or third time drives it out to the midfield, and that's a switcher play from Neil Douglas coming at paces. Danny Kirby were well read again by Brian Linsky, who cut a similar thing down in the first half to manage to turn the ball to Brendan Cunningham, and Garrymore can hit Castlebar on the counter-attack if they can get players and support the run. That's a nice touch there, but couldn't be gathered in by Kieran Cunningham. I'm not entirely sure he was expecting it, but there's Danny Kirby is free on the far left hand side of the field if anybody can find him. Caelan Crowe is making his way over to try and shadow him up, but James Durkett can't quite get away. Slips, regains his balance, splits two Garrymore defenders, and Castlebar again can just recycle the ball, and they're playing little ball out in front and well taken, and Kirby's coming in as a willing runner again, but that time it's broken up, and Garrymore again can break at pace. Cunningham, the captain, trying to get his team moving, pops it inside to Owen O'Reilly. Riley to Nally, who's seen, as we said, plenty of ball in the first half and is seeing plenty of it again here, and is Jimmy Killian trying to work something for Garrymore. Castlebar have started to funnel back and form up again. Castlebar have their sweeper in place, Michael Conroy.
Yeah, very hard from the kick in there. I see Ray O'Malley, he's just protecting the D there the whole time. Every time they look up, he's in a good position, so they're stopping the kick, so they have to work it through the hands, but doing all right. They come in for a free here, charging.
The referee says Gary Golden was charging. Ronan Gurran, I would have three players around him, and Gary Golden grabbed the ball, and the referee gave the free to Castlebar, and Castlebar again releasing the ball early to the pivot of their defence into Douglas, who lays it off to David Stenson, and he's going to have a go with his right foot. So from the resulting free, Castlebar get another score. 2-11 plays 11, 9.5 minutes gone, and it's a ding-dong battle at the moment, Michael Conroy.
Yeah, it's a great battle, but Neil Douglas winning every ball in there while he turned over one or two there, but he's getting his hands on the ball. There's runners coming off him, and David Stenson come off him that time in a great score. He's also won 2 scores, you know.
Brian Linsky trying to pick out Shane Nally. The ball is broke, finds its way to Miles Fallon, gives it to Brendan Cunningham. Out again is Fallon. Only the solitary figure of Jimmy Killian inside in the full forward line for Garrymore, so they're going to have to try and work it through the hand. Tierney, hard challenge on Owen O'Reilly. Ger McDonough disagrees, but the referee is going to have a word, and it's going to be Ronan Gurn's going to take the name of Ger McDonough. So it's going to be a free for Castlebar in front of the stand here at Elverys MacHale Park. A good crowd in for this game, plenty from both sides, and the free taken by Shane Alley, delivered long, diagonal high ball in towards Jimmy Killian, takes it one-handed, spins, tries to get a shot away, but he's being forced out wide to Gary Golden, and round on the loop comes Jimmy Killian. Popped past, almost split away to Keelan Crowe. Crowe, basketball style, one-handed, trying to get away from Barry Moran in the right corner forward position and keeping possession well, bringing the ball back in, and Gary Moore patient again, looking to change the angle of the type, but it's a loose play, and Jamie King back around, and out here's Neil Douglas to try and turn it over and apply a bit of pressure. Patrick Hessian pushing forward, pops out to Jimmy Killian, who finds himself out in midfield trying to get an opportunity to give Gary Moore a score, and it's very cagey for the last few minutes, and Gary Moore work back to where they were a few moments ago, and there's a runner coming at pace, and it's Trevor Nally gets it, checking, he's going to get a shot away, he's dropped the ball, but a referee has the hand up, and Trevor Nally was going at pace, and he just couldn't quite get the ball out of his hand quick enough to have a shot at goal.
Yeah, well, he was fouled, and it just put him off his stride, so he couldn't get the shot away. Yeah, it would have been a great boost to get at this stage. Garrymore are playing well. They're really keeping themselves in the game. That just need to get 2 or 3 scores in a row now to get themselves within 1 score, and again put Castlebar under pressure. And we seen last week, it could hopefully get a goal chance then, and really get right back in this game. Ball
retention from Garrymore effective there for keeping the ball for a couple of minutes. Michael Conroy, and developing the play how they wanted, trying to move the Castlebar defence around.
They were very, very, very patient. The ball through the hands. The option to kick was gone from Ray O'Malley protecting the D. But if you want to see how hard Castlebar are trying tonight, if you saw that run from Douglas from the edge of the D to come out to help his teammates out. But bad kick out there from Rory Byrne, the first one of the night.
Forces the ball out into the corner. Byrne comes out to make amends to try and support the defender. I think it's Johnny Motton back there in the Donny Newcomb back in the corner back position, and Castlebar using the sweeper to effect, just giving it back to Ray O'Malley, who can bring Paddy Durkin into the game. Durkin, Aidan Walsh looking for that long ball into the forward again, and it's on if they can make it on, but the goal is expected well, but he hasn't let it go, and Jamie King was trying to shepherd the ball out, and after a fashion it gets there, but it's dangerous if he's not aware of what's going on around him.
Yeah, they just separated that out. Maybe got a bit lucky there, but Neil Douglas and Jamie Oates having a good battle again today. I think the underfoot and being a bit slippy, it's harder for Jamie to get as close to him. And
long ball kick out. MacHale Connolly gets there to get a hand on it and gets Garrymore going forward. Gives it Brendan Cunningham and gives it back to Connolly. And Keelan Crowe. Fallon being chased down by Shane Irwin, comes inside, gives it to Gary Golden, immediately surrounded by two players. A Garrymore player goes down under a challenge, but Ronan Curran doesn't give a free, so Garrymore again can retain possession and just try and punch holes in this Castlebar defence and create an angle or a score that'll get them 4 points closer to 11 plays 12. It's a 5-point game, as we said. It's about as close as Garrymore have got since the early stages of this first half, and that's a free given, and the Castlebar defence doing their job.
Yeah, great hand in there from Barry Moore, and Ray O'Malley sweep it up. He's doing exactly what he's meant to do tonight, but he's playing really well. Anyone that can see him on the camera there, he's cutting off the kick the whole time, moving left and right.
Castlebar again pushing forward, sits it back to Paddy Durkin, and he has a shot on his right foot, and you haven't seen enough of that in the last two games from him.
No, yeah, I think that's his first score over the two games. Great score, but he's playing a lot better today, Paddy's involved in a lot more in the game, and interlinking play.
Back in his more accustomed position of wing back rather than centre back, where he's been moved around a couple of positions this year for Castlebar.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's starting today right half forward, but he seems, I think he's just got a license to go anywhere.
Ball turned over quickly, and from a Garrymore kick out, it slipped to Barry Moore, but he's hit as he strikes the ball, so it's going to be free. And you'd have to say that the short kick out option didn't work, and Garrymore give a scoring opportunity to Castlebar in their own 21.
Yeah, well, it probably did work, but Jimmy King delayed on it too long there. I don't know if he was fouled either. He seemed to be a foul, but again, he should have played the ball first and moved it out.
It's all about perspective up here. That's why we have two opinions instead of just one, Michael Conroy.
Yeah, I suppose it's mine the only one that counts then. Just another one there, though. When they're putting on the pressure there, they're getting great change out of from the kick out, whether it's long or short. They're getting a lot. I'd say if you go through it, they've maybe 2, 5, 6 got off the kick out. They definitely got the goal down this end, and this is going to be another point for David Stenson from that.
So Dave,
interesting enough, this is going to put Mitchell 7 points up. There was a stage there where it looked like, if Martin Conley took a score, it would have been a 4-point game. It's going to be hard for Garrymore now. They're going to have to push out, and that's going to leave space for Castlebar.
The opening 16 minutes of the second half, Castlebar extend their lead to 7, as Kevin says, and Danny, you have to say Garrymore are going to start to run out of time if they don't eat into that gap.
Yeah, I see Darren Quinn is coming in now, so Darren is a good forward, and so hopefully he can get on something for us. But another chance here for King Costello.
Kick out claimed, and Castlebar looking to add that tally. Work the ball to Danny Kirby, and Kirby just pops that over the bar. Niall McCartney is going to come into the game for number 12. Darren Quinn is going to be coming into the game, as we said, for Garrymore shortly. He'll add a bit of pace, Michael Conroy.
Yeah, Darren Quinn, he scored a great point the last day, but just evidently again there, kick out again. Owen O'Reilly won it, and Danny Kirby's on 1-3 from midfield. He'll be delighted with that tonight when he goes through the stats.
Another kick out breaks the way of Castlebar, and Garrymore are finding it difficult to get the ball into the opposition half, and this will only work into the favour of Castlebar, where they can keep Garrymore pinned back. They're spreading the play again. Paddy Durkin carrying the ball, pops it off to James Durkin. Durcan's linking up well as they have in the first half. And again, Castlebar just moving the Galway team around, trying to create an angle, create a runner. It's back to Durcan. There's another challenge. A couple of players go down off the ball. Ball gets out to Cian Costello on the far right hand side, and looked like he was going for a score. He just felt he could get it over on the breeze.
Yeah, nice little move from Castlebar. You know, it's probably worth a shot. Keane, he'll be disappointed he didn't kick it over.
The substitution for Garrymore is Miles Fallon, and just the tired legs, I say, of Miles Fallon, 41 years of age in June. Played very well up to now.
Yeah, got stuck in again. He does a workman-like job for Garrymore all the time. Never leaves anything on the field. But hopefully Darren can get on the ball here now and to get a few scores for us.
Substitution on the Castlebar team. Aidan Walsh is withdrawn, and Anthony O'Boyle comes on for Castlebar, and trying to get straight into the action into midfield. And Garrymore get the kick out for the. They desperately need to work the possession up. Brendan Cunningham tries to chip it up left-footed up the line, but it's well minded out, and Castlebar get possession back. Patrick Durcan goes back to Ray O'Malley, and Castlebar will build again, hugging the touchline on both sides. We have Dave Stenson and Cian Costello on the far side. Castlebar electing to play two in the full forward line, one drifts out. Again, Castlebar want to put this game to bed as fast as possible. 2:14 plays 12, coming up to 19 minutes gone. Garrymore going to start running out of time. They need possession of the football. If they don't have possession, they're going to find it difficult to cut into this lead. Kirby lays it outside, and that's good running from the support play. He's going to drop short, and it's going to go left and wide, and that's just two shots gone to the wide, but a wide is it's going to put the ball dead and almost gives an opportunity to get possession back again.
That shot wasn't on. It was, he didn't even look confident over that shot, Johnny Mahan. He should have probably just worked the score. Probably a little bit early for them to be sort of winding down the clock as well. They seem to be passing the ball a bit around, but let's see what happens here, Tom.
Long kick out again from Linsky. Ball, the breaking ball. One there for Garrymore. It's going to be a foul on Mark Tierney, and the referee is gone to his pocket. He's going to have a word, and Tierney seems to be in some discomfort.
Yeah, big hit on him there. He went in well for the ball, Tierney, to win the free. Don't know what the referee is doing here.
He's going to have a word with Owen O'Reilly. I'd say it was as Tierney won the ball. He was crouched down, and Owen O'Reilly, his arm came out. So Ronan Gurn, it's a yellow card for Castlebar as the wind picks up again here at MacHale Park. We have 20 minutes gone in the second half of the semi-final replay. A final on Sunday against Ballintubber awaits the victors. Garrymore are going to have to try and put some impetus and put some pace into this game. They're allowing Castlebar to come on to them a bit too much.
Yeah, they're going to have to start pushing up now with 10 minutes to go. They really have to get a goal or two now here in the next few minutes. But again, Castlebar are sitting back well when they lose possession, and it's going to be very hard to find a way through.
Mark Tierney being helped to his feet. Then he's been a scoring threat for Garrymore in not only today but the game on Sunday as well. He's back on his feet. He's a bit gingerly on his feet, but he's a hardy buck. He won't want to come off.
No, definitely not. If he tried to add to his tally, he's had a good scoring tally to the championship this year. And if we're to get a goal, Mark is probably the most likely.
With free taken by Kieran Cunningham, feeds it inside to Cunningham. Cunningham lays it off to Tierney, to Trevor Nally over the top. Cunningham continued his run. The sweeper is back there to do his job, as is Paddy Durcan, and it's a numbers game back there in Castlebar defence at the moment. When they flood back and they break, they're coming left and right, and the Garrymore are finding it difficult to cope with in the second half. As Irwin gets away from Golden, and he's shouldered over the line by Mark Tierney, a fair shoulder. It's a sideline ball, a good challenge. Just try and get a bit of an impetus for Garrymore.
Yeah, great challenge from Mark Tierney, but I'd like to see him inside at this stage of the game. Garrymore 2:14, 12 down. He needs to be inside there, because if he's going to get a goal, he's the man that's going to get it, not around midfield there.
It looks as though the linesman has pulled that back. It's going to be a substitution on the Castlebar team. Shane Irwin is being withdrawn, and Niall McCartney is going to take his place. the linesman put his flag up there. It's going to be a hot ball. The sideline ball was stepped over the white line, which you can't do. So it's going to be a hot ball. Barry Moran and Gary Golden. 2:14 Castlebar, 12 points Garrymore. 22 and a half minutes gone. Garrymore need at least one goal to take this game, make it difficult for Castlebar, but Barry Moran takes that one-handed basketball style while holding off his man, and it's going to look for a quick ball inside. Trying to hit Douglas again, and Douglas ran across the line of Jamie Oates. I don't think there was the referee Ronan Gurran says there was no foul, it was accidental collision. And quickly Brian Linsky is trying to get Garrymore moving to MacHale Connolly, and Garrymore have to get the ball in the opposition half of the field. All the time that the ball is in the Garrymore half is just eating away at the clock, and they cough up possession again, and James Durkin is going to run at the defence, and he's very quick. He's going to have Neil Douglas if he decides to lay it off to him. His kick still going, right footed, saved by Brian Linsky, and Neil Douglas just couldn't get the rebound, so it's gone wide, and that's, have to say, was the wrong option. He should have shifted the ball over to Neil Douglas.
I tell you, when Declan Riley goes looking at that on Friday night, he'll be killing him. You know what I mean? He has to go to Douglas there if they're going to get to the county final and beat Ballintober. He has to go 2-on-1 there. It's a 1-on-1 then for Neil Douglas. But look at a good save from Brian Linsky.
Yeah, blistering pace from James. That's what he does. He took 3 or more men on, left them for dead. But agreed, he should have given the ball off to Dougie.
Would you have given it?
No.
And Castlebar are driving again, and this time it's Johnny Maughan lays it up, but that's well read and turned away, and Garrymore can counter. There's 7 Castlebar players, and if they can get it, work it right, if they can break in numbers, but there's 6 Garrymore players in the line of midfield, and not enough inside to support the lone striker of Jimmy Killeen. But Jamie Oates is trying to get that ball to Gary Gold, and the referee has seen something off the ball, I think, and he's going to Ger McDonough and Shane Nally. It was coming together off the ball. It was a pull. I think Ger McDonough was booked in the first half. We'll see what happens here with referee Ronan Gurran. But Michael Conroy, when Garrymore were breaking with the ball, there was 6 white shirts in the line on the halfway line, and only 1 man inside with 5-6 minutes to go. It's not. They have to get support.
No, I think they're going to have to move from their game plan here, because that 1 man inside was Jimmy Killeen, and he was on 2. So they're going to have to go full out and try and get a goal, or else this game is over. 2-14-12 is very, very unlikely to come back. The way they're playing, they're still sticking to their game plan.
Shane Nally strikes out with the outside of the left, but he got a good score here on Sunday. But the referee is going to consult his linesman. The umpire on the left hand side said, I think he's just having some running repairs, Ronan Gurran. Ger McDonough got a yellow card. He hadn't been booked in the first half. Will look like there's going to be another substitution on the Castlebar side. They're getting ready. Number 21, Colm O'Neill. Colm Kine, sorry. So the 45, he's going to drop it in around the house, and Garrymore need the goal, and there's a fist on it, I think, from Keelan Crowe, but that's gone to the right and wide, as we have coming up to 26 minutes gone. Garrymore 12 points, Castlebar 2-14, and Michael Conroy, it's going to take something special to get Garrymore back into this game.
Yeah, I don't think there actually is any way back for them. You know, I mean, Castlebar back-to-back county champions. You know, at this stage, this is their bread and butter. 4 or 5 minutes go, they'll play down the clock, mind the ball, and yeah, look, I'd say they're going to be in a county final on Sunday against their neighbours, and really looking forward to that.
Tactical substitution here on behalf of the management.
Yeah, it's good to see Caleb McKine, a young lad, 19 years old, plays in corner forward, great ball winner. Whoa.
Now, Brendan Cunningham went to make a challenge, and he's going to call him over, and he could be in a little bit of trouble here. I think Johnny Maughan, was it? It was, yeah. was marking. Yeah.
I don't think there was nothing intentional. It just caught him a little bit high. Frustration, obviously, as well. No, I was just making the point there about Caleb Kine. He's a lovely corner forward. He'll be going in corner forward. Probably taking Barry off to save the legs for Sunday, you know. But Barry's had a great game. We worked really hard. Kicked a score. Did really well today again.
Castlebar on the attack. Ger McDonough in field. Quick hands from Anthony O'Boyle. And there's more runners again for Castlebar, but Patrick Durkin decides to have a cut, and that's just gone to the left and wide. But all the time the ball is in the Garrymore half, they're not getting any nearer to the Castlebar goal.
Yeah, the difference in the two teams is the 2 goals, and we're just not eating into that at the moment. It probably, when we did have a spell of pressure there after half time, we needed to get a little closer. So, it's looking ominous now at 3 minutes to go. But they're still sticking, they're still trying hard, which is good.
Yeah, you can just see Tom there. Look at the what you call it, the tackling from the Mitchels forwards. They're working, trying to stop Garrymore building, trying to close them out.
Garrymore are still on the attack, trying to make something happen. MacHale Connolly, who's been a willing runner all day, but that time the hand pass goes astray again, and Castlebar can slowly build from the back. Don't forget to go to our Facebook page and you can like and share for our competition. Darren Quinn turns over the ball, and Garrymore once again have decided to put in 3 into the full forward line. They need 3 goals to win this game, and if they can maybe get 1, they could get 2, but that's a shot from Kieran Cunningham, and you have to say from that position you'd have to be looking at the ball be going over the bar.
Yeah, poor shot from Kieran. He's usually quite good at coming up and getting a score there, but it's quite a strong breeze there now. They're finding it hard to get in close enough to get the chances off.
Another couple of substitutions going to be made by Castlebar. They're just going to pull off the players just to give them a break, as we said before, tactically just managing the players there. Number 5, Ray O'Malley, coming off, and coming on is Mark Towie, and looks like number 18, Connor Stenson, who's the brother of David Stenson. He'll be coming on shortly for Castlebar as well.
Yeah, Connor Stenson, captain of Mitchell's minor team that won the county title last year. Loads of potential, 6'3" lad, can play centre forward, midfield. Good to see him getting a game as well. And good to see Mark Towie back as well. Mark spent a bit of time over in Canada. I'll hand you back to Tom there.
Kieran Cunningham trying to break through the Castlebar defence, but unfortunately the ball gets away, and it's just been that kind of game for Garrymore in the second half, and Castlebar have players over and they're driving at the Garrymore defence. As Garrymore go in search of scores, they're going to leave themselves open defensively, and that's hit just off the outside of the right and wide, and there's going another substitution on the Castlebar side. Stenson is coming on for James Durkin. As we said, don't forget to like and share our competition on Facebook until Sunday evening. There's a €50 Elverys voucher and a Mayo top, so make sure you get liking and sharing on that up until Sunday evening, and the winner will be named after the county final on Sunday. Garrymore 12 points, Castlebar 2-14, just coming up to the 30-minute mark. We'll be playing whatever the referee allows for injury time, and you have to say in the second half Castlebar have just managed the game and took the sting out of the Garrymore burst.
Yeah, look, the game has kind of fizzled out, to be honest. There hasn't been much scores the last 5-6 minutes, and it's a done deal, but disappointing. Paddy missed a couple of scores there. The quality hasn't been great the last 10 minutes,
Michael Conroy, you've been impressed by the way Castlebar have just nullified the Garrymore challenge.
Yeah, completely. They've just quenched the fire altogether with Garrymore. But they've worked really, really hard. Even now, Danny Kirby, another turnover, and there's boys buzzing forward. Paddy Durkin will be very disappointed with those last 2 wides from him, but he's making 50-60 lung bursting runs, to get there, which is great.
Danny Kirby with a big kick there, but again, just to the right and wide, and at this stage wide balls are just again easing into the time that Garrymore need to try and get something going. But as we said, with 31 minutes come into this game now, it's been a fantastic year for Garrymore in the championship, and it'll be, the players have done the club proud.
Yeah, they'll be very happy with their year, and getting so close to beating Castlebar the last day, putting themselves up against the best teams in the county, so they know they can do it, and they're a reasonably young team, a lot of good young players coming in as well in the next year or two, so if they can keep this together, they know they can mix it with the best teams out there.
And they've had a good league as well. They're safe in Division 1A, mid-table.
Yeah, very good. They've won 5 of their last 6 games, and playing without Keelan Crowe and Shane Nally all year is tough, and they've had a lot of injuries, and at the moment we've David Dolan away for a few months. He'll be back again, and Kendon Lydon has a broken finger, which they're big losses today again for us. And we have a few other players out as well at the moment, so the guys have done really well. I think everyone in Garrymore is very proud the way they've played this year and competed.
Just have an injury here to Shane Nally. Took a big hit, so hopefully he'll be okay. Wouldn't want anybody hurt at this stage of the game. And Michael Conroy, a mouth-watering prospect in mind with next door neighbours. County final, Castlebar going for 3 in a row. Ballintrubber trying to get their first title since 2014.
Yeah, and I think Ballintober will be reminding them that they've never beaten them in a county final, which is.
I think that might be just once or twice reminded.
Yeah, I think there could be a picture of that up in the dressing room. You know what I mean? Cillian O'Connor and Alan Dillon will be licking their lips tonight because, you know, let's be realistic. They'll want Castlebar in the county final. They like playing against them and their local rivals. Last year, you know, it was a kind of a cat and mouse game. Both of them played very defensively, and Castlebar came out on top, but it was the semi-final. They won't count it, you know, in Ballintober. So it's going to be very interesting. But just going what Danny McHugh said there about Garrymore, that they had a great season, you know, for a team that lost so many players, and Kevin Welch done a very good job with them the last 4 years. Very good in the tackle. Could have won it last weekend if Carl.
There's a bit of an altercation going on in the middle of the field between Kieran Cunningham and I think it was Callum Kine. If it's going to be brought to the referee's attention, hopefully. It's just slight frustration probably eking out. There was a jersey pull, and I think there was just a reaction as Garrymore were on the attack as the free is taken, dropped in around the large square, just trying to get a goal, but they can't get it out. It's going to be a free out, and the prospect of facing Ballintober.
Yeah, so look, it's going to be intriguing what it comes. Get Ballintober being cruising the last 2 games, so Mitch is probably improving. It's going to be a fascinating final.
As Ronald Gurn blows the whistle here at Elverys MacHale Park, Castlebar 2-14, Garrymore 12 points. We say goodbye to Garrymore in this year's county championship, and we have to say that the 2 games that have been played, they've played them very well, in the spirit of football that's been on offer has been excellent, and you have to commend both teams on their fitness, playing on a Sunday, coming out on a Wednesday night. It's no easy feat.
No, yeah, both teams played 2 great games and showed great sportsmanship. Yeah, very hard hitting there at times, but it was great sportsmanship. And Castlebar got the 2 goals early. That was the difference in the 2 teams today. And it kind of fizzled out at the end. But both teams will be happy with that. And best of luck to Castlebar at the weekend.
And Kevin, pleased to be in another county final, going for another 3 in a row. The last one was 74-77.
That was Garrymore,
for Castlebar, going for their third 3 in a row. They'll be going happy enough with their performance getting into there.
Look, yeah, you got to be there to win it. So that's the goal. Obviously, the team at the start of the year is to get back to a county final. And
having played in 4 of the last, played 4 finals, won 3 of the last 4. Going for another one, having the team that they have a purple patch with the players of the squad and the way that they've developed.
Yeah, look at, and what a lot of people probably don't realise is, you know, there's a lot of turnover of players in Castlebar. Like, there's 7 players missing from the 2015 campaign. You have Alan Feeney missing, you have Richie Feeney missing, you have Fergal Durkin missing, Neil Lydon, Ronan Burke, Stephen Kane, Tom Kings, and Tom Kniff. There's a lot of turnover of players in Castlebar. Like, so, like, that's only mentioned the guys that were starting. So there's probably another 3 or 4 that have been on the panel. Look at Castlebar, be delighted. They performed really a lot better tonight than they did on Sunday. You know, they'll be delighted to be at the county final. Head will be down tonight, maybe a recovery session next couple of days, and getting ready for Ballintober and probably trying to get the matchups right. You know, it's going to be a really interesting game, and it's going to be hard to call, to be honest. It's very hard to call.
Don't forget, you can see that final live on Sunday here on MayoGATV.com. For the time being, Castlebar 2-14, Garrymore 12 points. We hand back to Liam Horn.
Thank you, Tom, and to Danny and Kevin. I'm going to spend some little more time with Danny and Kevin to assess what happened there. It was 2-14 to 12 points, the final score. So I just first of all asked Danny, you kept at it, but there was always that arm's length feel about it, wasn't there? Like, you couldn't get within the 5-point barrier. They could go up the field and get a score after a good effort by Garrymore.
Yeah, we needed to get it down to 3 or 4 points and put pressure on, and hopefully, like last week, get a goal from somewhere and kind of put it up to Castlebar. But it just never materialised. The 2 goals were the difference in the 2 teams. I thought maybe Castlebar would push on a bit more in the second half, and but fair play to the Garrymore lads. They really stuck at it there for the full hour and did themselves proud. They've shown now they can compete with the best teams in it, and hopefully they'll continue on. Now the good few young players have got great experience there this year.
Okay, Neil Douglas is there as well. I'm going to call in Neil Douglas, goal scorer for Castlebar. Gets a shake of the hands from Kevin Phelan, Michael Conroy and Danny McHugh. Neil, I suppose, first of all, you're happy to be over that. You were the convincing winners on the evening, but Garrymore never fully gave up either.
No, we knew that, especially after last day going 6 points up. We knew they go right to the end. Luckily we had that kind of 2-goal cushion at all times. And yeah, it was just a matter of getting through it, dogging it out.
How did you feel about your performance?
An improvement on the last day anyways, support play was a lot better. We've still a lot of areas to work on, we're not going 100% just yet, so hopefully Sunday now we can put it all together.
Sunday will be a test. You don't need reminding, you've never beaten Ballintubber in a county final, even though you're heading for the 3 in a row, but you haven't taken that statistic along the way anywhere.
Yeah, listen, we know what's ahead of us. We know our record against Ballintubber in the finals. So, I think deep down this is the one we kind of always want because we haven't beaten them. So, obviously we're going for 3 in a row, but I suppose we haven't faced them in the last 3 years. So, I think this is the one we all want, and I think it's the one that Mayo wants too.
Okay, what was the approach since Sunday? Time was too tight to do anything physical. What did you do?
Such a quick turnaround. It's just about recovery. So after game Sunday, we got the ice baths done, we got our nutrition done, and it was just who could recover quicker. And I think we recovered sufficiently enough there tonight.
Before I let you go, Kevin, you fell with a vastly improved performance by Mitchels tonight.
Oh yeah, a lot slicker, Liam, and mixed it well. In the first half a lot of it was going through the hand, but you should have seen some of the scores in the second half. Lovely diagonal balls and good movement. Dougie said it there, the support play was a lot better tonight. Better intensity in the tackling. I think the forwards tackled a lot better tonight. Better performance. Yeah, obviously Danny mentioned there that we didn't probably score a whole pile in the last 10 minutes. The game was probably over as a contest. Taking a few of the lads off, giving some of the younger lads a game. Castlebar will be very happy. It's all about Sunday now. Okay,
the one you're looking forward to anyway, Neil?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, cheers. Thanks very much, Neil Douglas. Top scorer, of course. I see Paddy Durkin here as well too. The Castlebar centre half back and Mayo player, of course, as well. And Paddy, I suppose that's when you just wanted to win, get through, set up a meeting with Ballintubber. You were the better team on the evening.
Yeah, look, the goals probably made a bit of a difference on the night, but it was tough out there. Now we still have a lot to work on, but look, it's job done and we're on to Sunday. So
the early goals give you that cushion. You're able to play a controlled game thereafter, I felt.
Yeah, and games like this, they're definitely going to make the difference, and I thought they did for the most part tonight. We were able to keep it at that 5 or 6 point gap, the goals being the difference, and missed a few at the end and a lot to work on. But no, look, it's good. We're where we want to be at the start of the year and prepare now for Sunday as best we can.
It's the All West Mayo final people were predicting against your neighbours and dear friends.
Yeah, look, it's going to be a good battle. We've had a good lot of them over the years, and I'm sure Sunday will be no different. So it's one both teams will be looking forward to, and we're intent to prepare as best we can and go out and perform.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us, Paddy. Best of luck Sunday.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Okay, that's Paddy Durkin, one of the great Mayo footballers, of course. And Declan Riley's here as well too. Declan, team manager. You had a busy week, Declan. Anyway, it was. Danny Kirby made the point here Sunday evening. You were glad to be still in it with the late Garrymore rally. But I think you showed this evening you were much stronger this evening.
Yeah, well, we knew that we had to improve from last week, certainly, and I think we improved a little bit today. Still plenty to do, obviously, but I'm happy to get over the line. Semi-finals are there to win. We won it without setting the world on fire, but we'll take it today.
Where did you see the improvement mainly?
Well, certainly the goals that we got in the first half were a major improvement. I think our overall play, I think on their kickouts, we closed them down pretty comprehensively. I think we were decent in the air, so we were able to drive at them then. Once we got the cushion, we were able to play a bit of controlled football, so happy enough with that.
What improvements would you like to see now? What do you need to do more of?
Well, we need to win, that's the first thing now, that's the obvious thing, and now these fellas are able to do that. We've won the last 2 county titles. It's a big ask to come back for the third one, but these are a serious bunch of resilient men to come again, and there's a lot of people that are saying this team is finished. The players certainly don't believe that, and we don't believe that. We believe this team is as good as any team we've produced in the last number of years, and we're looking forward to the final.
Okay, well, best of luck, Declan, in it, and thank you for joining us.
I appreciate it, Liam. Thank you.
Okay, Declan Riley, Castlebar Mitchels. Manager, of course, Declan Shaw, heavily involved there as well too in the Castlebar management, and rumours of their demise. Some of them started here. They're still a formidable team, Mickey.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I wouldn't be ruling them out by a long way yet, but you can see it in the lads there. They're really excited to play Ballintubber in the county final, and that's the one they wanted. It's a bit of cat and mouse, and we haven't beaten them and stuff like that, but look at it, both teams will be looking forward. I know that Ballintubber will be, Tom Prendergast will be here tonight, and Martin Conley, they'll be looking at where they can get at them, but it'll be a good one Sunday.
What do you think of Mitchels after tonight, Jimmy?
Yeah, you could see there was definite signs of improvement there from the last night. If they improved by as much again between now and Sunday, they'll give a very good account of themselves, as they always do, of course. But they're up against a very formidable opposition in Ballintubber. Castlebar going for the 3 in a row. Hasn't been done for a long time. Garrymore back in the 70s was the last time it was done. Yes, and of course, Castlebar haven't beaten Ballintubber this present in the present sequence of games, say from 2010, 2011 on. Castlebar haven't beaten Ballintubber in a county final. So that's something else to play for.
What is the dynamic between Ballintubber and Castlebar Mitchels, Kevin? You've played in those finals. The first one was a poor game. Cat and mouse, Jimmy said there in terms of, or Mickey said in terms of the build up to Sunday, but they're kind of cat and mouse games as well a bit, aren't they?
Yeah, of course they are. Well, look, in fairness to Ballintubber, they won 2 in a row, 2010 and 2011, so they were the standard bearers, and if anything they probably drove us in Castlebar on. They had the bar at a certain height, and we knew if we wanted to beat them we needed to lift the bar and probably focus and really concentrate a Castlebar group of players, to get over the line. But it took us till 2013 to get over the line. Obviously we lost 10-11. Mitchels bet Ballintubber last year in a semi-final. So yeah, it's going to be intriguing. It's the dynamic is like your neighbours, so there's a huge rivalry. A lot of these guys have gone to school together in St. George's. They'll have played in the same football teams together. The fellas have played on Mayo teams together. They know each other inside out, so it's going to be very close. It's going to be small margins that win that game on Sunday, and there'll be no love lost, but that's it. But fellas will shake their hands the minute they come off the pitch, and that's the way it always has been between Castlebar and Ballintubber. They respect each other. There's great respect among the clubs and great respect among that group of players, each set of players.
Danny, you've seen all the games the last few weeks, and you're a keen student of the game in Mayo as well. How do you see that county final going?
It's very hard to tell. Whether Castlebar having a lot of match practice now will stand to them, and maybe good tough battles with Garrymore. Ballintubber kind of, I suppose overawed Clonmorris the last day, so they didn't really get a big test. So, they look very impressive now up front. Whether the Mitchells can devise a game plan to stop them, but I'm sure they do. As Kevin says, they know them so well. It's different when it's derbies. It's it's going to be nothing between them. Score or two here and there. The Castlebar lads will know the O'Connors inside out. They'll know what they'll have to watch for. Ballintubber will know the Castlebar key players, and they'll be trying to keep them out of the game. So it's very hard to call. Two different styles probably as well, so it'll be a very interesting final. It should be a very good final.
Okay, well, Danny and Kevin, we're going to let you go. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you Sunday, Kevin, hopefully in a holding role again for Mitchells. And Danny, thank you for joining us, and commiserations to Garrymore. They lost no lustre in defeat this evening. They put it up to Castlebar Mitchells the last day and played some very good football today, as we've said too. Gentlemen, what did you feel Mitchells didn't do well, Jimmy, this evening? I know you felt their full backline was a bit shaky at times when a high ball came in. Is that something that Ballintubber might try and exploit by dropping a Diarmuid O'Connor in there? Or?
Well, I don't think either team is going to change the way they play that much, certainly in terms of their forward play. As Kevin was saying there, they know each other inside out now at this stage. They played each other so often in championship, which is the test. Over the last 6 or 7 years, so I can't see them springing any sort of surprises. They'll play their normal sort of games, and it'll be interesting to see how well they can break down the opposition defences. We've had some very expansive games now over the last couple of weeks in the championship, high scoring games. It's very difficult to see that on Sunday. I might be wrong, but and the history between these two teams as well is that they do tend to neutralise each other to a large extent, and so there'll be highly tactical battles, and they'll be for the purist, I suppose.
It'll be cagey, Mickey, I'd say.
Yeah, completely. I'd say you're going to have a lot of one-man full forward lines the next day on Sunday. I see it being very, very tight. A lot of one-on-one battles. You could see 15, 20, 25 men inside the half at stages. That's the way the game has gone. Both teams will move in waves, and it's just a case of who's going to take the chances, how the matchups are going to go. Cillian O'Connor was picked up last year by Jerry McDonough. He did a reasonably good job on him, considering how good Cillian O'Connor is, albeit maybe inside. Bending the rules a small bit, but look at that'll be done. That happens as well. The referee will have a big part to play if he's keeping an eye on that, and there's a couple of frees off the ball. Cillian O'Connor will take them all day. Will they pick up Alan Dillon as a man marker? I would if I was setting up against them. He's kind of the oxygen that gives it to Cillian O'Connor. But the one man and the big matchup is going to be midfield. Will it be Kirby? He scored 1-3 tonight versus Jason Gibbons. Will it be Barry Moore? They're very, very good friends, but they won't have any problem playing against each other. So it could be Kirby Gibbons or Gibbons and Barrymore, but that's going to be the key battle, because we've seen the last day, they'll go on the kick out. Brendan Welch doesn't like to go short. He likes to go direct to Gibbons, and Gibbons is the option, as well as Dillon to the full forward line. That's where they're getting their scores. So as regards game plan, will they change it up? I don't think they will inside a week, not a hope. As regards Castlebar, they'll recover tonight. They'll probably meet Friday night, pool session, bit of food and video analysis on what they've done well tonight. Have a look at the Castlebar or the Ballintober Clamars game. Will they get a lot from it? Probably not, because it was over after 10 or 15 minutes, but there was a huge goal threat from the Killian O'Connor, Diarmid, Pádraig O'Connor. So look, it's going to be who gets the tactics right on the day, who gets the matchups right on the day, and who executes the game plan to the best of their ability.
Okay, well that's it, I think, for this evening. From here at Elverys MacHale Park, where Castlebar Mitchels have booked their place in the county final against Ballintober next Sunday. Here on MayoGATV.com, we'll be covering this game, and we'll be covering the intermediate final as well, right throughout the afternoon on Sunday here. And it promises to be two very interesting finals. We have Kilchmoff versus Moy Davits in the intermediate final, and in the senior final, the West Mayo neighbours Ballintober and Castlebar Mitchels, the dominant pairing in Mayo club football for the last number of years. And Castlebar Mitchels going for a 3 in a row, never executed since the Garrymore team of the 70s. So they're walking in the shadows of greatness there if they can achieve that on Sunday here at Elverys MacHale Park. I want to thank the team this evening as always: Tony Kennedy, Desi Campbell, Conor Dowd, Paula Ballester-Murat, Joy Regan, a special signing from The Hague in Belgium in Holland this evening, Liam Hennelly, Mickey Conroy, Jimmy Lyons, Danny McHugh, Kevin Phelan, Tom Carney, Damien Brennan from Milltown, fresh from the Sigerson Cup or a Higher Education League game today, and all our guests. I think I've everybody covered there. Shane Halligan as well, and everybody who helped out this evening. We'll see you again here on Sunday in the Elverys MacHale Park on MayoGATV.com. Don't forget our like and share competition on Facebook. You might get yourself an Elverys voucher, or you might get yourself an Elverys Mayo GAA top. So hope I've given the credit to everybody who needs to get the credit, and with that we depart Elverys MacHale Park this evening. Thank you very much. I'm Liam Horan.
Good.